All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. My name is Robb Carter. Welcome to the future. Number one podcast in America. Good morning, Isaiah. What's going
That's
on?
right. Good morning. It is tornado weather in Missouri today, as
How
I'm
bad
sure
is
many
it?
of our listeners know.
How bad is it?
Pretty bad.
Has it
Last
started?
night, I wasn't awakened by the storm last night, but they said that the worst is to come this afternoon. So we'll
It'll be
see.
good for some of my contractors who fix siding
Yeah.
and roofs and cars, like my good friend Kevin Gosh,
Yeah.
the magic man with those magic hands, if you remember back from the radio days. A little drama this morning. I'm going to address that real quick. Somebody on Facebook kind of tried to poke fun at me. And this is like just very personal stuff. But we got to the bottom of that this morning. I had a feeling it was staged. As soon as I saw it, I go, this is staged. Somebody here is working for either the Republican Party or my old radio station. Turns out we'll get to that here. And I don't know how I want to address that. Do I want to address that here or do I want to? Because look, that Facebook page is a personal page that I turned into the show page.
Yeah.
Because like, look, we got 1,500, 1,400 listeners. Why start a new page when most of the people that are friends of mine know that I'm doing this? If they don't want to see it, they can push it off or block it or whatever, what have you. But we'll stick with this particular Facebook site. But I love it when they do this. This is the second time I've caught these particular people trying to organize something to look organic against me that wasn't. You think I like that, Isaiah?
I don't think anyone likes
knowing
that.
me, and you've known me for a little while now. Do you think that I'm just going to allow that to slide? And I'm just, and I told you earlier, there was a time when I get very confrontational with these type of people. But in today's world, you pray for me. I've turned my life over to Jesus, and I ask for patience and not to let my temper get the best of me. But I don't like when people do this because this is a character assassination. My wife was mentioned in that post, and as I was walking out, I just told my wife, I said, 20 years ago,
You want me to share it on the screen?
30 years ago, I would have found this person, and it would have been on like Donkey Kong. And maybe he's a tough guy, what have you. But I'm kind of an old school person where when you get involved with my family or my friends, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming. Me? You can try to embarrass. I like it. I like the criticism.
Stones may break my bones.
Absolutely. You can come at me all you want.
hurt me.
I do it. I get after people. So if you want to come after me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
It's only fair if we're going to attack people, they can attack us.
Absolutely. And I'm fine with that. I've said it many times. I like the criticism sometimes better than the praise.
Yeah.
But this was orchestrated. This was staged per usual. And it was right on the front cover of my Facebook page, show page, if you will. And I will answer that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer that on Facebook. We're going to get out we'll roll it out. Maybe we'll do it after the show today.
Yeah.
And, I want to get into, we've got an audience that wants to hear about the White House Correspondents' Dinner and everything else. This is a little bit more personal for me. But if you're somebody that wants to know how that thing was orchestrated, who was involved, we'll lay that out in a separate post and we'll post it on our Facebook page. Maybe right after the show today. We'll put an end to this little game. Fair?
Exciting. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the people, they're already asking, they want to know, they want you to show it.
Do you want to do it now?
It's whatever you want to do, sir. I think that it's either way is fine. I think.
Well, you
can do it here and on social media if you want.
Why don't we do both? Yeah, we'll do it both. Okay, so here's the story. All right.
Here's the story.
Well, here's the and I lost that too, I think. Do I have that? Where's the story? I think I have that. No, I get rid of it.
That's a great one.
Here's the story.
There we go.
There we go.
So when I was at the radio station, again, I have no ill will towards anybody at the radio station, even the people that were critical of me. I have no ill will towards them. I'm a public figure. If people want to smash on me, do whatever they want to do, I'm absolutely fine with it. But what bothers me is when there is this perception that is allowed to grow and spread, which everybody involved knows is a lie. That's what bothers me the most. It's like, okay, now I'm in competition with Rob or what have you, and now I've got to diminish him, which is all perfectly fine, but now I get to play, right? Because when I left Real Talk Radio, I've got no issue with anybody there. In fact, Rick and Tracy, I've said many times, gave me a great opportunity. I'm completely respectful of it. I love those people. I do. To this day, I love them. I wish them all the best. I hope that Real Talk Radio and the radio station, even News Talk, where I was at prior to that, I hope those radio stations become huge and make all the money they need to make and whatever what their agenda is. I hope that they reach it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. And I mean that sincerely. I like all the hosts. As I said, when we started, I said, I'm going to miss Dan as much as I love you, Isaiah. Dan was somebody I like to see in the morning. We had a lot in common. We like pop culture. Dan was amazing. I think he's incredibly talented and sometimes not appreciated, to be honest with you. And then you
I
have
agree.
who I think was the glue to that entire station. I'm a big fan of Drew Shelton. He just had a baby and beautiful little baby boy. Then you have Peggy and you have Doug Billings, who I helped get on, on the station to begin with. You have Ryan Haidt. I have the new people I don't know that well, but the people that were there prior, I root for them every day. I hope they do well. But what I started to notice was when I was told, when I was pulled off the show, right? What caused the controversy was I was pulled off the show after an hour in. Okay. And anybody that knows me knows that you might as well fire me. There's not a chance in the world that I was going to say that's okay, right? I mean, anybody that knows me, is there anybody that's ever known me in their entire lives to think that would be okay? So if you don't know me, that's fine. But if you know me, that's the end of our relationship, or it's like cheating on me, right? I'm done once that begins.
Yeah.
So, and everybody can look at it through whatever lens they want, but those are no-goes for me. And they have every right to do it. It's their radio station. I'm not mad at them at all. They either I was bad for business or they didn't like what I was saying or what. It doesn't matter. Whatever's going on is fine with me. Right. And it's like I said, they own the business. They put their money and invested in it and tried to cultivate an audience. And I have nothing but respect for anybody that takes that kind of risk. So this is not personal with me. This is business. I had somebody the other day say, I hope your show does this and that and the other, and you make all the money. And I said, well, that's not really what this is about. I said, I would like to be able to make enough of a living to be an advocate for the things I would like to see change. That's what the entire program is about. Do you think I'd be doing this if it was about money? I mean, Isaiah.
I think you'd still be in the shoe business.
Exactly. You know what's going on financially. I mean, it's not like we're rolling in dough. It's a ridiculous notion. I didn't do this to start making millions of dollars, which I probably will ultimately make because that's kind of how I roll. But that's not why we did it originally. We did this because I'm an advocate for certain things. And I think the Republican Party in the state of Missouri is trying to pull the wool over the eyes. And that's not every person. It's not every person in the Republican Party. I'm talking about the organization of the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, I believe is trying to pull the wool over the eyes of their voters, period. I believe that. And I'll debate any of them, any one of them. And when I was on the radio station and we were the #1 streamed political talk radio station in the entire country, I invited all of them on to debate with me. I mean, what else do you want me to do? If I'm wrong, shut me up with your facts.
Yeah.
If I'm right and you can't win that argument, then all of a sudden Rob is a conspiracy theorist. He pounds on the table and he's too mean and we just can't talk to him about anything.
I think that's why the MMTLP debate is going to be so interesting.
Oh yeah, we got the MMTLP debate going on a week from today. But let me finish this story. So what happened was, what you're going to see on this, is this the post in response?
This is his response to your post.
Can we get the original one? Can you get the original one, or you just want to start here?
This is the original one. So you had your.
I can't even say it. Can you read it?
Oh.
Okay. Here we go. So this person's name. Can we say his name? I don't even know what the laws are. I won't even say his name. It's
I mean, it's on the screen. People can read it.
Okay. So Jason Cook, who I don't have any idea who Jason Cook is, I put out a show update for today. So last night, I tried to put out a show update for people that are paying attention to the show. Here's what's coming. And I did a show update, and I posted it onto Facebook and to X. And somebody that's in my, what I assume is my personal circles, because although my Facebook page is open to the public and it is a kind of a business page now, it's all my friends. It's my network in the state of Missouri and Florida, and that's what's rolling. So this person responds to that, and he says, "Your conspiracy theories are tiring AF." You know what AF means?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's hope the audience does. Your conspiracy theories are tiring AF, and then let's scroll up to see what he has to say from there. Yeah. And he says, "This is the part that this is the part where
old Rob would have
old Rob would have had a problem with this in a very different manner." Does your wife actually take you seriously? Does your wife actually take you seriously while being the breadwinner at this point? If half of what you even said here is true, you'd think that you'd be worried about the president not thinking he is an actor and the puppet you've insinuated he is for a long time now. Are you saying he's complicit and this was staged, but he was stupid enough to let them treat JD with more caution than they did him trying to sell it? Or are they selling him out, just want to get the point made and clear here? First of all, I never said, I don't even know what he's talking about. We were talking about narratives that were being built from the story of the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Center. It had nothing to do with my opinion. I was simply saying, here are the narratives that are spreading around social media and broadcast media. And then that is his response. So his response, if for people that would not watch the video, they're going to think that I'm into some conspiracy, that these things are going on and this and that and the other, which is always the way they try. These propagandist morons Again, I don't want to do that. Lord, I'm serious. I don't want to do that anymore. Lord, I apologize for that. I'm not going to get personal with this. I want to stick to the facts. Isaiah.
Proverbs says, do not answer a fool with their folly.
Say it one more time.
Proverbs tells us, do not answer a fool with their folly.
Okay. And I agree with that. I hate when I do that and it slips and it's something deep. It's a demon inside that I got to get out. But the bottom line is, this is just the way people who try to orchestrate and shape perceptions away from reality. This is how they work. So I didn't know who this person was. Can we get the next one?
Oh, wait. Yeah, this is my
and here's
this is where I get thrown under the bus here.
Here's where he goes after Isaiah. It says, P.S. Isaiah is a child, going after you, Isaiah. P.S. Isaiah is a child who still believes in the boogeyman and doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground yet. Okay. Now, Isaiah, how old are you?
I'll be 34 next month.
2 kids?
Yep.
Married?
Married.
Your wife is a doctor?
I've accomplished more in 34 years than most people will in their entire life.
Of course. I know your background and your history, and I'm very blessed to have you on this show if anybody knew your history. But this is a shot to take you down, to take me down, and to make light of what we're trying to get accomplished here on the Robb Carter Show. Fair enough?
Yep. I am an elected official, too.
An elected official. He just won an election as an alderman out in St. Clair, Missouri. Okay? So then I responded to him and said, hey, would you like to come on and have this debate with me? Okay. Do you have the next ones, or is that the only ones you have? Let's bring up the next ones real fast. Let's just show you how this works. Because I don't know who Jason Cook is. I don't know that name. That name doesn't ring a bell to me at all. I have no idea who this person is.
Let's see. Let me get your post here.
Take your time. The audience is waiting very patiently.
Yes,
they love
they
it.
Are. Yes.
I gotta get a drink of water anyway.
There's so many. There's so
riled
many
up this morning, by the way. I do love it. So I want to thank this person for doing it, because it does give me a bit of energy that I wouldn't normally have. But I got to tell you, don't you leave wife and children out of political debates, Isaiah? Isn't that just like common respect for people?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Unless you want something like this to happen, where you want your whole post blown up on the internet show, where there's going to be thousands of people watching.
Yep. Okay, now
so this is
how did I respond? Did I respond?
Yeah, so he said, for record, I have no idea who Jason Cook is or having interaction with him. I've never screamed, yelled, or pounded my fist on the table in a debate. I respect anyone willing to debate. You can list all my conspiracy theories and I'll debate you with facts now accepted. Fair? I think you mentioned my wife. In a political discussion, you should expect pushback. Thursday or Friday from 9 to noon. He gave him a time already. I love it.
What's that? Give him dates.
Clear my schedule. Invitation.
Okay, and then he responded. Can you read what he responded so I don't have to read it?
Yeah, he said, glad to see I can still trigger you. You know damn well I'm open to questioning things. That's healthy. But if your position is that everything is a lie until it fits your theory, then we're not actually debating. We're just trading beliefs. A real conversation needs some shared standards for what counts as evidence. Otherwise, no way for either of us to ever be wrong. And that's not truth-seeking. That's just storytelling. There's a reason you have always showed me personal attention, wanted me to call into your show, and that your old bosses respected me more. If I took you seriously, I would have called in when you was over there. That's not correct English, by the way.
Close enough.
But close enough. But you would just scream, pound your fist on the table, and I can't debate a position that rejects all evidence except what it already agrees with. That's not skepticism. That's just selective belief dressed up as skepticism. I'll gladly have a conversation with anyone, but only if we agree that evidence can actually change your minds. If nothing can change your mind, then it's not a discussion. It's clickbaiting, attention-seeking performance. I think he's projecting.
I was going to say, you talk about pot calling the kettle black. My mind has changed because I was the biggest Donald Trump fan on the planet.
That's a great answer.
And I was exactly like you the entire time. I would say no matter what he did, it was 5D chess, and people just didn't understand his brilliance. And I did that for years. And now I'm saying, okay, wait a minute. I can still appreciate Donald Trump for some good things that he's done. I continue to say that the most important thing that has ever been done by any president in my lifetime is to allow the public to see behind the curtain, right? Mm-hmm. So I still remain a Donald Trump fan. I'm not a fan of what he's doing, but I am a fan that now people are aware that a lot of things on TV are fake. That's why you call it the fake news. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Jason Cook. But what's interesting about that is you must have got that last night. I didn't see it till this morning. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it till I woke up this morning and then responded to it. And then I texted it to you and you said, yeah, I saw that last night. So you must have went onto his Facebook page and found out who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let me explain to the audience who may not have listened to the radio show in the past. There was a guy that was on our app back at Real Talk Radio. You would get live reaction from an app, the Real Talk Radio app. and people would comment on there. They would, all of my fans apparently were being blocked. I didn't realize that till I quit, and about 25 people said, "I'm glad you're gone. I got blocked off of there. I'm gone. I got blocked off there." Which, to be honest, Rick and Tracy were telling me they were blocking people that were confrontational, but a lot of people said they were just defending my position and they got blocked. Whatever. I'm just telling you what was told to me. Okay. So there was a guy on that particular app that was on there every day, all day long. I don't know if he works or what's going on there, but he goes by the tag Whiskey River. Okay. Whiskey River is a staple. There's a few of them. There's one BPAC. There was a handful of people that were on the app all day long, and I don't dislike them. I had no problem with them. I thought they were respectful in their criticism. What's up, Keith Cuppa Evans, my man? Haven't seen him in a long time up in New Hampshire. But this was a back and forth that we would have on the app. Well, then all of a sudden, when you looked up at this morning, I didn't see it. You want to kind of play what you found this morning, which I find is interesting, because this is the second.
So this was a post that I just scrolled down and happened to see on Jason's feed here.
And what's that say? Can you read that to me? You think this is AI, by the way? So listen to how this language is versus the last one that he sent, and you tell me.
Yeah, this is in my personal experience dealing with AI. I am a professional expert on AI generation, as far as text generation, video generation, and image generation. I would call myself an expert in that area of field. That's what I've done for many years in digital marketing. I can tell you right now, just looking at this post, I don't even have to read it, that it was written by AI because of how it's formatted, the 3 hashtags at the bottom. If you ask AI to write you a post, it's always going to give you 3 to 5 hashtags at the bottom. You look at every other post on this guy's page, he's not really using hashtags. The other thing that's kind of telling is this dash. So that little dash right there in the second paragraph, that's AI inserts that many times, and it's a kind of a red flag for you to say, hey, this was probably written by AI, along with all the emojis there, and the language is just very different than his other posts. And so right. I was telling you that I personally believe that this was probably, he either used AI to write this, or maybe it was sent to him by someone who wrote it from AI to post it. Those are my two kind of guesses. But yeah, very interesting that
read what he's got here. Let's read this off. This is a promo.
Tired of the same watered down news.
We'll do a live read for my former radio station, Real Talk Radio. The live read from Jason Cook, also known as Whiskey River. Apparently
93.3. Tired of the same watered down news and talking heads.
Wait a minute. Before you go any further, when was this?
This was April 16th.
And what date did I leave? Was it like the 7th? Okay, so this is after I leave. Okay.
Yep. Go ahead. Tired of the same watered down news and talking heads? There's a place where common sense still exists, and it's right at your fingertips. No matter where you are in the country, you can tap into one of my favorite radio stations and hear a lineup of hosts who are informative, unapologetic, and actually fun to listen to. Smart takes, real conversations, a little humor mixed in with the truth. Download the app, tune in live, and see what you've been missing. Trust me, once you start listening, you won't go back. Hashtag common sense, hashtag talk radio, hashtag MAGA.
Real Talk 93.3 FM, right?
Yes.
So now show the response to this.
His response, you're saying?
No, the response to that from the radio station.
Yeah, let's see. Oh my goodness. Now it's
because as soon as I saw this, it upset my wife and my mother-in-law this morning. They must have seen it before me. My wife gets up with the cat at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Cat starts scratching when it's like an alarm clock, right? So my mother-in-law had already seen it. She was upset about it because my wife was mentioned. So this is the kind of situation I wake up to. And this is from Tracy Ellis, the owner. Her and Rick own Real Talk Radio. Would love to meet you one day. Tracy Ellis, I'm really looking forward to it. Well, come to one of our events. Okay, this is what is responded by Tracy Ellis. Now, Whiskey River was at our events when I was there. So am I to believe that this guy has been on this entire time and the radio station didn't know who he was when he came to our events? Or was this kind of a staged, not organic way of trying to promote, right? Which I don't even care if they did it. I don't. But this is the second time.
It's not about them necessarily. It's more about Jason. What are you doing?
Correct. This is about Rick and Tracy. They're trying to promote their station. Beautiful. I love it. I get down with it, whatever you need to do. But the part that really irritates me the most is this is the second time there's been a staged, remember All the World is a Stage? The second time somebody has tried to stage something against me. Stage it. Not organic, planned, put it out there, try to hurt what I'm trying to do, trying to embarrass me, trying to embarrass my wife, these types of things. And I think it's ridiculous. right? And all
Yep.
I've said now is I want to bring him on for a debate, right? Because here's what I find out about people like Jason Cook. I will absolutely demolish him and embarrass him for the rest of his life if he should decide to debate me. And he knows it. He knows it. But I've made the offer and I put it out there publicly. We can do that on Thursday or Friday of this week or whenever you're free to do it. Because I want you, and as you said, you're tired of my conspiracy theories. I want you to list the conspiracy theories that I believe in, not the ones that I've discussed because they're a part of public conversation, but the conspiracy theories that Robb Carter believes in. I want you to list those. We're going to come on the air and we're going to debate those like gentlemen. I'll be cool about it. I'm not going to pound on my desk and scream as you indicate that I will. I'm not going to do any of that. But I would like to debate you because I think you're a propagandist and I think you're trying to hurt what I'm trying to get done, which is simply make the Republican Party in the state of Missouri do the things that are on their platform. Fair? That's all I'm doing. All the things that they say they want to get done, but they just can't get it done with a supermajority, and they always try to come after me. And I'm not talking about any particular person in the Republican Party in the state of Missouri. I'm just talking about the party leadership and the money that runs it. I believe that they are pulling the wool. That's why I used to start with the hustle song. Remember?
Getting hustled.
Do the hustle. I said, because you're getting hustled. You are giving your money to these PACs and you're going to fight for all of these people, and leadership makes all the decisions. So you can have 200 people in the House and Senate in the state of Missouri, but if the Senate leader and the House leader don't want to take up your legislation, well, then you're just really cute with all your debating going on because it doesn't mean anything. And if you guys really cared about doing things for the people of Missouri, immediately you would change the structure. You'd say, I want to have some say in who my leadership is. Not the people, the people that are going out of office determine the leader for the people that are coming in. Does that make sense? Now, how can that possibly work? And I've said this to the Republican Party multiple times. This serves your party well, but it doesn't serve your people very well. I think the Republican Party believes, honestly, that the Republican voter will follow them no matter what they do. That the Democrats are so nauseating, and this is their opinion, not mine, so nauseating that you have to side with the Republicans because what they want to do is they want to paint the Democrats out to be complete nuts, which I believe is all theater. I was on the doing some house cleaning today, if you will, and I was trying to explain that to people. Look, it's theater. If you don't see it as theater, then at some point you're going to. I just got to keep bringing it to your attention, and ultimately you're going to see that all of the things that you see are complete theater. The Democrats with all the things that they want to say, all the insane commentary. Remember during the George Floyd riots, and the guy from CNN, what was that guy's name? Valshi, I think his name is. He's walking, got the fires going on behind him. The entire city of Minneapolis is on fire, and he goes, mostly peaceful
protests,
right?
Yeah.
Now that is something that everybody sees, and they go, "Look at these people! Look at CNN! They're crazy." By design, it's by design. I just can't believe that people aren't recognizing it at this point. Since the advent of cable news, you started with CNN, then you came up with Fox News, then you came up with MSNBC. And if you recognize how propaganda works, all they do is drive these narratives into their listeners, and they get you fighting about them instead of fighting against your government that had needles in your arms and left the borders wide open and is ripping the Constitution up and wiping their ass with it. That's the whole game. That's the 5D chess that's being played, is to keep you and I fighting with each other. Now, I don't know what Whiskey River would like to get done, other than I think he is in love with Donald Trump to the point where he can't think straight. And some of us were there. We understand it. It's like when you're in love with somebody and you walk in and they're making love to the neighbor on the bed at your own home, right? You can never see that person the same way again. Fair?
Yeah.
You just can't see them the same way. Doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean that there's something in your heart that didn't connect with them at some point. But now there's no longer trust. Now you question everything that went on in your relationship prior. Remember when she came home at 2 a.m. and she said her car broke down and she had lipstick all over her face because she was trying to change a tire? Now you're starting to think, I wonder if she was up to something now. And you start to think back of all of the things that you once accepted as fact or as truth, and you just let it slide. And now you're going back and saying, wait a minute. We're in a war when you said you didn't want to put us into war. You said you were going to get rid of all of the illegal immigrants that were here, and that didn't happen. You said you were going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. That didn't happen. You said you were going to release all of the information about Jeffrey Epstein, and that didn't happen. Now you're telling us about Chinese spy balloons and UFOs and all this other nonsense. And people go, wait a minute. Now I don't know what to believe. Now I don't know what to think. Now I'm in this haze, and I don't know what to do. And therein lies the problem. When your society has no idea, it's a rudderless society. Our society right now is in a rowboat out in the middle of the ocean, and wherever the waves take us, that's the way we're going to go. We don't want to pick up the oars because doing this all the way back to the shore would make us tired, and it's just not enough. We don't have enough energy or effort to do it. But the reality is, if you want to have a good life for your children and your grandchildren, if that's something that matters to my generation, right? If that matters to you, if you allow your little boat in the middle of the ocean to just wander aimlessly and hope that everything works out, it ain't going to work out. It's not going to work out. What they're putting into place right now is diabolical. They're doing it right in front of your very eyes. That's why the AI data centers, and it's funny because there's this guy, his name's Kurt Hilsinger. Apparently he's a partner with Mike Kehoe, who is the governor of the state of Missouri. He's doing all of these Facebook commentaries. He's doing live public, which I appreciate, by the way, live public conversations. And he's telling you how great the AI data centers are going to be for people. Okay. Well, I just talked to the former Speaker of the House from Florida, who's running for governor, right? Speaker of the House, very powerful position. The Speaker of the House is 10 times more powerful in the state of Florida than the governor is in Missouri, just because of the size of the state and the money that goes through it. That person said AI data centers are dangerous, and he will put a moratorium on them until we have a 3-year plus public conversation. I don't think he said 3 years, but a long conversation. Okay. So that's a Republican, right?
Yeah.
But everybody who disagrees with AI data centers in the state of Missouri is on Democrat talking points, and they're just Democrats trying to hurt the Republicans and all the business they're going to bring in. That's what I say to that.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you have Josh Hawley. Let's just start there, and then I'll get into the White House correspondence.
Do you want to tell everyone who we're going to have on later today?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sean Noel.
Yeah. So we're going to have Sean Noel later on. He's running for presiding commissioner in Franklin County here in Missouri. Really excited about him because he's not running on a single issue, but one of his issues that is important to him is, going against the data centers.
Which the people of Franklin County don't want.
No, they do not want.
That's the bottom line to the entire
zoning meetings?
Go ahead.
Have you seen the planning and zoning meetings?
No, they sent them to me this morning, but I didn't get a chance to watch them all.
It's the biggest meetings of attendance that I've ever seen of any public meeting, and they have to hold them inside of a school gymnasium because there's so many people.
Right.
And
so, do you think the people running Franklin County, the presiding the commissioners, do you think they're going to put forth those AI data centers?
Absolutely.
As it stands right now, despite the fact that nobody wants them, just like nobody wanted them in Festus, just like nobody wanted them in St. Charles, just like nobody wanted them in Warren County, Warrenton, nobody wants them.
Yep.
But the government's going, well, I don't think you understand. We're in charge, not you. We run the show. You guys are aggravating us because there's big money in these AI data centers, and I'm sure I'm going to get just a little piece of it if I had to guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive these AI data centers right down your throat, and if you don't like it, well, it's just too bad, too sad. And you wonder why the Republican voter is beginning to go, what's happening here? What is going on? Is there a two-party system? Or is there just a one-party system that is run by corporate money? Simple as that, just a corporate money who has puppets on the right and the left, and they just tell them what to do. They organize the vote, so they're always just one vote short. Look at the vote in the Senate for the live stream.
The live streaming video, yeah.
The vote was 12-11 with two people that are conservatives from St. Charles County that went to the bathroom during the vote. I mean, there's a point where
it seems that they go to the bathroom a lot during votes. The senators.
They do, and the problem is they don't care that people like you and I know. They just want to make sure that our audience doesn't get big enough to bother them. That's really the reality of it. That's why they're not too terribly mad at me, right? Because they're looking at me going, okay, so long as he's on a podcast and this audience is not on the radio waves every day, everybody's happy. We can do whatever we want to do. Rob has no effect on us anymore, so they're going to pat me on the head and let me roll away. That's not what's going to go down. I just don't understand what these people are thinking. You're going to have conversations with us publicly. You're going to have to do that. If it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. Isaiah is a part of this operation. Isaiah is a very bright person, and Isaiah understands what's going down. We talk about it every single day. We know what is happening.
Keep telling me how bright I am. I appreciate this.
You're going to get plenty of it. I like your loyalty already. But the conversation will be had. It will be had by me, Act for Missouri, Shield Maidens of Missouri. And as we begin to organize, the ants are beginning to organize. You're going to have to answer these questions. Okay. You can have a difference of opinion. As I said in that earlier post, if you're willing to debate publicly, I'm not going to get mad at you. Just have the debate publicly. I'm not going to beat you up on it. I'm not going to do anything, but you have to have the debate, because if you don't have the debate and you don't have live stream in the Senate and you just want to run away and call people names and everybody's a conspiracy theorist and we just don't understand the law and the language in the law and this and that and the other. Well, basically, AT chess. Basically, what you're saying is the people that you represent are just too stupid to vote. So why are you asking for their vote? Right?
Yeah.
You're asking
Why
for
do you
people
need their vote?
Right, you're asking for people to vote for you who've told you what they want, which is no AI data centers. They want a moratorium on AI data centers everywhere in the country, all over the United States. But what happened, and they just don't seem to want to admit this, and I would ask any of my Republican friends, and I have many within the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, just explain to me how you're going to be able to do what you want to do as a sovereign state when you're getting half your budget from the federal government. Explain that to us, because we want to understand how you do it, because if we can have a sovereign state and get half of our money from the feds, then let's get all the money from the feds. Don't tax us at all. Just get it all from the feds. It'll be fantastic. They print the money out of thin air anyway.
Pump it in here, baby.
Pump it in. Let's go. Bring it on. Right? Because if you're getting half of your money through the federal government to run your state, and you don't think the federal government is running your state, then I got a bridge to sell you. And if you want to have a sovereign state in Missouri, then what you have to do is cut the budget back to where it was before the CARES Act money, because of COVID, the con job came in and made you flush and whole and made you all rich, all your buddies rich, all your contractors rich. $25 billion. That's a lot of money to allocate, don't you think, Isaiah? With a B, $25 billion. So explain it to us nice and slow, anybody in the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, very slowly, though, because your audience is too stupid to really understand what's going on. But if you're getting half of your money from the federal government, who, if you don't do what they want you to do, if you do not comply with their wishes, they just pull that money away from you and you can't run your state. Explain to us why we should even vote for anybody in the Republican Party in the state of Missouri until you get rid of that money, until you shrink your budget back to $25-30 billion.
Yeah, if you're really,
I just need an explanation. Anybody.
If you're a small government conservative, that'd be the first thing you should do, is
100%.
eliminate any federal funding, because then it says, okay, that's half the budget gone. Now let's shrink the government and see how we can still survive.
They don't want to shrink it.
No, of course not.
They don't want to shrink it. They want to give the appearance of wanting to shrink it as they shell game the taxes away from income to sales and usage taxes. And I think the bill does do, and I could be wrong. My people on the right, the grassroots people might get mad at me. And I've asked Bishop Davidson to come on. Bishop Davidson, you should come on and have this conversation with me. You're the author of the
live stream
bill.
last night. I would love to hear what he has to say.
And I do too. And I hear good things about him. I don't think he's a nefarious character. But what he's saying is, listen.
I was impressed that he did the live stream and was taking questions from
Me
people.
too.
I was pretty impressed by that. Most people wouldn't do that, you know.
Agree. 100. A young guy too, and I hear good things about him. But I'd like him to come on.
For anyone who doesn't think we praise people when they do things right.
Right. And I just want to ask him, because I believe that he's sincere, and what he's saying is that if we move to a usage tax, you can determine which tax you're going to spend your money on. And I agree with that. I don't even disagree. Okay. But the idea that you're shrinking government, right? Because the argument has now shifted. The argument has shifted from, we're going to reduce your income taxes and we're going to make it up with sales and usage taxes, right? So now that's the debate. The debate should be, you got $25 billion from the federal government. You shouldn't be shell gaming the taxes from income to sales and usage. You should be shrinking your portion of the pie so that we don't have to pay you $50 billion of our taxpayer money. That's what you should be doing. That's the argument that those are the tricks and the games that the Republican Party, whether they know it or not, they use against the Republican voter. The Republican voter traditionally has been small government, stay out of my pocket, stay out of my life, be there when I need you, protect my borders, protect my streets, get out of my pocket, get out of my bedroom, get out of my life, and I'll take care of myself because I'm a sovereign citizen of the state of Missouri. You don't have that anymore. And the AI data centers, and the reason we beat it to death is because the AI data centers is a perfect example of why you don't have sovereignty anymore. The federal government wants those AI data centers, and the Republican Party, who's getting all their money from the federal government, is now going to try to sell you on putting in these AI data centers. It's not much more complicated than that. And anybody who doesn't agree with that, just please, why can't you talk to me? What's the big deal? I got a big audience. How many people watched the first 10 days? 300,000?
Yeah, we got over almost 300,000 views in the first 2 weeks on the content.
300,000 for this little guy that didn't even get to promote himself when he left a radio station. Nobody even knows where I'm at yet. We have thousands, tens of thousands of listeners all across the country that don't even know where I'm at yet, but they're going to find me because we're going to advertise, and we're going to find, if you can't find me, I'm going to find you. And then you can determine whether you want to hear somebody explain to you what's really going on in your government versus trying to be red or blue, which seems to be the strategy and the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Have I made my point clear on that so far?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It just makes me think of, this is for the younger people that are watching, and maybe some people don't even know this because I was such a nerd. There used to be this old internet TV show. Do you know the video game Halo?
Yes.
from Xbox. Yeah. So this group of producers made this basically an internet TV show using the game Halo, where they would record in the game, and each character was each person in the game was a character, and they made these storylines and stuff, and would make it look like they're talking and stuff. And the name of the TV show was Red versus Blue, and so that's just what I think about is Red versus Blue, right? If we can put that out there to the people and say, hey, you got to choose one, or else you're not a part of the system, you're not a part of the conversation, so choose one or start packing, basically.
Why do you think people can't recognize that? Or let's put it this way, let's say that I'm wrong. Why do you think people can't contemplate the idea that this is a one party government? It's not even really a one party government, it's a zero party government. It's a corporate government. The corporations that make the oil and the goods and services that you need, your iPhones and your technology and this and that and the other, they run the show. The government is there to give you the illusion that you have choice, and whether it's Democrat or Republican. And all you have to do is look at the outcomes.
Yeah.
You're just looking at the outcomes. The outcomes prove it to you. You don't have to take my word for it. What in your life has gotten better since 1970? Somebody explain it to me. Are you less anxious? Are you more healthy? What are you getting better than we had in 1970? Anything? And it's been Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. All you get is war, higher taxes, more surveillance of everything you do. That's what they want. Power and control. Money and surveillance over you is what this system wants. You're not going to win it through the Democrats. You're not going to win it through the Republicans. You're going to have to recognize that those two teams are in the same game together, not necessarily across the aisle when they're in Jefferson City, but the people running the show, the money behind them that determines what's really going to happen, those people are in bed together.
I think people just don't want to, from my experience, talking with, my parents and other folks, a lot of times I feel like it comes down to, and even in my own life, and I'll talk about an experience that I personally went through, is I think people just don't want to accept it as true, because if we believe that, then what comes with that? If you do accept that as a truth. And something for me personally was just over the years watching the Jewish influence in media. Now, I'm not here saying, oh,
you're half Jewish.
The Jews control the media. We're not, that's not what I'm saying, but there is an influence there's an influence from Israel. There's an influence from the Jewish people in media to get a specific message or a positive message about Israel out, right? And that's the Israeli government. They have a whole program where they pump money into the U.S. to do that. And so, obviously being from a Jewish family, it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I want to accept that, right? But I also am someone who says, I'm not going to just dismiss something because, oh, my dad's Jewish, so I can't believe that, right?
Right.
No, I take it with the critical eye. I looked at it, and when you look at all the owners of the media companies, they just happen to be Jewish, and
well, they're Zionists. It has
Zionists.
I don't even think it has anything to do with being Jewish. It has to do with the idea that we use Israel as a proxy for our foreign adventures. It allows us to blame Israel. It allows us to blame, like I said, there has to be a boogeyman or this doesn't work.
Exactly.
Without the boogeyman, nothing happens. And the boogeyman can be the UK. We're trying to break away from UK. So now you got the boogeyman with the UK.
King's coming over because of that.
Right. You have the boogeyman with Israel. You have the boogeyman with Venezuela. You have the boogeyman with Canada. You have the boogeyman with Greenland. You have the boogeyman with China. You have boogeyman all over the place. And that's what makes it work. Right. Because Muslims are the boogeyman. Jews are the boogeyman. The boogeyman is a government that is not of, by, and for the people. That's the boogeyman. That should be your fight. The fight should be against this establishment government that is pulling the wool over your eyes. And let me just, before we get into the White House Correspondents' Dinner and the shooting, because I want to lay out the narratives that came out of last night. And I'm not, as Whiskey River or this Jason Cook tried to paint me with, I'm not endorsing any of these narratives. What I'm telling you is this is the game playing that goes on in our society, so you don't know what day of the week it is. That's all I'm saying. The whole point is the narratives there's so many of them that you're going to latch on to whichever one you believe in. And now you've got something deep down in your soul that you believe in. And when Robb Carter says something different, you're like, he's so ridiculous. Donald Trump is saving the world. Has he not played 5D chess? I mean, does he not know what's going on? Of course he hated Lindsey Graham and now he loves him. Of course he was going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. Of course he wasn't going to do that. I knew that because I play 5D chess as well. And then they start getting into all of these rhythms that don't make any sense, where they're supporting Donald Trump on things that just a year ago they were fighting against. But if Donald Trump is for it, they're for it. And they can't even see it in their own selves. It's just crazy.
I even see people dreaming the liberals for COVID. They're that they don't want to recognize Trump's involvement, so they just cast, it's the liberals' fault.
Trump sold COVID like Mike Lindell sells pillows.
Yes.
Right? He sold COVID every single day, every day,
Operation
every single solitary day that he was on the campaign trail. He was selling COVID. His wife was selling COVID. I did a podcast where I said, when did Melania Trump become a doctor? Because she's getting out. Everybody should take their vaccines as soon as they come available to you. Please roll up your sleeves and get your vaccines. I, Melania Trump, know everything about these vaccines that nobody else seems to know about. And Pfizer wanted to hide for 75 years. But I, Melania Trump, tell you to go out and get these vaccines. And if it kills somebody or you have a heart attack or it destroys your immune system, well, that's just too bad, too sad. We got to sell some Pfizer vaccines. And that led to the CARES Act, which was a $2.2 trillion heist of your money. And how are you paying back that money, you ask? Well, look at your gasoline taxes, right? Look at inflation. Look at your interest rates. That's the money going back. Okay? They took the $2.2 trillion, they gave it to you, and now you're paying it back with interest. And nobody seems to notice. Mm-hmm. And nobody seems to care. Let me go to Bernays.
Sorry to get you off track there. I just was top of mind for me.
You'll pay for that.
I know.
All right, let me get to Edward Bernays because this is my wheelhouse. All right. What my wheelhouse is advertising, propaganda, and marketing. Same as yours, right? So this is where Isaiah, I'm not into the markets. When I talk about the MMTLP situation, that's why I want to have a debate. This is something that I'm not an expert in. I'm not somebody who studies markets and all the intricacies of the markets. I just don't do that. It's not my thing, right? I know very little about the Bible even. I call myself a Christian, but the reality of it is I am somebody who reads the Bible. Occasionally, it's something I need to do better. I want to read the Bible more. I want to study the Bible more, but there's this ridiculous notion that I don't have time to do it is a problem for me. And I admit it. Mm-hmm. I should be spending more time reading God's word. And I know that, but I talk about things that I understand very well. One of the reasons I love Isaiah on the show is because when I get off track, Isaiah knows the Bible. He can explain it to me. Okay. But let me just get to Edward Bernays. All right. Edward Bernays is the father of modern day propaganda. And propaganda, if you could just boil it down into just a little bit of understanding, it is in your subconscious mind, tying a feeling that you might have to a product or a narrative or a politician or anything else. It's it's beating a theory or a thought, I should say, into your subconscious mind that you don't know is there, but it lives in there. And now you don't think it's in your subconscious mind because you begin to think about it and weigh it, but it was planted there through propaganda, really good marketing. I mean, look at as I say to everybody, do you think you're going to need a McDonald's hamburger anytime soon? Do you know what the Big Mac looks like? You know what the Big Mac is, right? So why do you think they're running commercials for the Big Mac? Because that drips into your subconscious. And as you're driving by a McDonald's, you go, that Big Mac looked pretty good. I think I'll have me a Big Mac today, right? Same thing with the politicians, same thing with the propaganda. Let me read what Edward Bernays had to say. Hang on here. It says, the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses. Let me start over. Okay. I want to get this right. Isaiah, I want you to digest this. And I want everybody to listen very carefully to what is happening to you. And it's been happening for a long time. But now that they don't have to restrict domestic propaganda because of the Smith Modernization Act, now they do it willfully. Now your government and your media systems and your schools and everything else can propagandize to you, can mislead you, can tell you stories that are going on in Iran. They can tell you stories that are going on in China. They can make it up out of whole cloth because now they can use propaganda to shape your perception. And watch how many generals you have that will call into me or text into me or send me messages about what's going on in Iran. They now know what's going on in Iran more than Donald Trump, apparently, because they've watched a news source or one of their favorite political advocates has told them exactly what's going on in Iran. When in reality, if they were thinking clearly, they have no idea what's going on in Iran. Not zero. You don't have zero idea what's going on in Iran right now. None. So for you to pretend that you do is, if you would just think about it for a second, is absurd. Okay? But how do they get you to believe that you know what's going on in Iran? How do they get you to believe that Donald Trump is the hero and the savior? How do you become an advocate for everything that Donald Trump says? How do you get in line with Donald Trump's 5D chess? Let me explain it to you from the words of Edward Bernays, the father of modern day propaganda. This is what he writes. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate the unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government which is the true ruling power of our country. This was the lead propagandist. The Nazi party took their information from Bernays. They started to propagandize based on the theories of Bernays. Nazi party, Bernays. The reason you eat eggs and bacon for breakfast is because Bernays planted that in the back of your mind, and that's how they sold it. And 100 years later, we still think of bacon and eggs for breakfast. He is the one that got women smoking cigarettes with his liberty torches. He says, women, if you want to be free, show your man that you're going to be free. Get out into public and smoke our cigarettes, because that will show that you're a free-spirited person. And that's when women began to smoke cigarettes in this country. That is Edward Bernays, related to Sigmund Freud, and also related to the person who started Netflix, who teamed up with Obama and J.D. Vance to make him the vice president of the United States, funded by Palantir, which is the CIA, which uses exactly what I'm reading to you. Did I cover that pretty? I think I'm getting better at this, to connecting this dot.
Pretty good. Pretty
Right?
good summary.
Let me read this one more time. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. That goes all the way back to the early 1900s. Let me continue on. He says, we are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. So now what they're doing is they're telling you that they're misleading you, and they're telling you why they're misleading you, because you must live in this bubble of misinformation, this bubble of propaganda, so that we can have a harmonious society. Fair? Okay. Let me continue on. Again, this is Edward Bernays explaining to the masses all the way back in his books, Propaganda. What was the other one? Public. I can't remember. Here it goes. Edward Bernays, Public Relations. Thank you very much. See, I need you. I need you. All right. It says, this next paragraph, in almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind. Let me also explain something to people that just dawned on me yesterday, and I think I'm going to explain it the way I believe it's happening. I don't know this for sure, but this is what I think is going down. I think because every man, woman, and child in this country now has some access to a computer or a phone, and we have mass surveillance, and we have AI beginning to store it, I believe they know who's going to win the election. If we had a real one, they would know who's going to win the election simply by voter record and your communication on social media. I believe that they can get it down to the number as to what's going to go down in our elections, because you are giving them all of your information. They know who's going to vote. They know who's not going to vote. They know who leans right. They know who leans left, and they can monitor that and have AI store it, organize it, and spit it out before the elections. And they want to expand that operation through AI data centers that the Republicans go against the wishes of their voters and implement all over the country. That's what I think is happening. I think we are being dominated by the tech bros. Let's play that real fast.
Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen this documentary?
Is that where they went to Vegas and they hacked all the election machines?
No. So this is I highly encourage everyone. I'm not, we're not big on promoting anything on Netflix for obvious reasons, but this is on Netflix. It was a documentary that came out a few years ago. It's about the 2016 election and how the Trump campaign won, and how they used social media to identify people which side they were on. And then they identified people who were right in the middle that weren't convinced yet. And then they focused all their advertising on Facebook to those people in the middle to pull them to President Trump's side. So very, very interesting. There's a company
Is that
called
the
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge Analytics? Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
Yep. So Cambridge Analytica, they talk about that in this movie. President Trump's director of business development is in the movie interviewed. She, I guess, this whole situation kind of messed her up. Kind of, I guess, not messed her up, but it kind of opened her eyes to, oh my gosh, I can control people. You can control the narrative. She left the States and was like living in Thailand, and they're interviewing her in Thailand.
Right.
And so just very interesting. It's a few years old, but everything you just said is what they did in this movie. So,
and I haven't seen it yet. So I come to my own conclusions, right? I didn't even see that movie. But it would just make sense, right? If you understand that the government wants the power and control, that's what these centralized governments want. They want power and they want control, period. That's it. That's just two elements. It's all they need, power and control. That's what they're after. So then you look at the stuff they put forth, like the 702 FISA warrants. We'll get to that in a minute. That gives them more power. The ability to inflate your money, deflate your money, create interest rates, that gives them power. When they tell you that there's a big COVID scare out there and you run out and you put your mask on and you stand on the dots and all that nonsense that was going on during the COVID era, what they did through that was create enough fear to where you stood in line and they said, we're going to pass $2.2 trillion. You guys couldn't work because you had the mask. We had to shut down all of your small businesses. We did have to leave Walmart, Lowe's, Target, and some of the bigger corporations open because COVID didn't go there. But we did need to close your churches and your small businesses. And our society didn't even recognize what was happening. You tell me there's not some brainwashing going on? Mm-hmm. Think about it. Everybody in the sound of my voice, do you think there wasn't some shenanigans going on with your own mind? Think about it for just a second. Walmart opened the entire time. Target opened the entire time. Lowe's opened the entire time. But your church was closed. And your small businesses were closed. Everything that could be consolidated into a bigger company was closed. And then what'd they do? They had you inside your house. They had you watching television. Every show, if you're watching any kind of CNN, ABC, the rolling scoreboard of death, the rolling scoreboard of cases, all of the dramatic stories with the people in freezers and they're stacked up in body bags out in New York City, and they just sold this like a movie because it was a movie. That's when people say that things aren't orchestrated, COVID is the perfect example of an orchestrated movie. It was a movie to fleece you out of $2.2 trillion. Not more complicated than that. And you know how I know, Isaiah? Because I have allergies and asthma to a degree that would kill a normal human being. But Isaiah, as you understand, I'm not a normal human being, right? I could not. I got asthma.
Are you an ultra-terrestrial?
I'm a different breed, Isaiah. I had asthma and allergies, terrible asthma and allergies. I couldn't breathe through my nose for 10 years because I had polyps in my nose and I had them removed twice. And within 6 months, they came back. So I couldn't breathe out of my nose. I had terrible asthma, right? And I did not do one thing when COVID was going on. Nothing. I ran around with no mask on. As I used to say, I French kissed everybody that would have a shot at me just to make sure they knew I didn't care if they were sick or not. I said, you have COVID? They said, yeah, stay away from me, you have COVID. And I would come in tongue flying, give it to me. Right? Because I just wanted to prove that it was absolutely, positively, 100% a hoax. Most people got sick out of anxiety and fear because as soon as they got the sniffles and they actually believed that COVID was going to kill them, then all of a sudden the anxiety made it worse. The protocols were stay at home. Make sure that you're nice and sick so you can't breathe anymore. Then let's go to the hospital. We'll put this ventilator on your face. We'll stick you with some poisonous medicine called remdesivir, and hopefully you'll be able to survive it, right? And you would think that if you're a Donald Trump 5D chess player, that you'd want guys like Anthony Fauci in prison. You want the people that were running the CDC in prison. You'd want the NIH people in prison. You'd want all of the people that lied to you day in and day out. It's 100% effective. It's 98% effective. It's 95% effective. It's 90% effective. It's 70% effective. It's 50% effective. Now it causes heart problems and autoimmune diseases. Now go get your boosters.
Yes.
Is that brainwashing? Would you call that brainwashing, Isaiah? Would you call that brainwashing? I call that brainwashing. What would you guys call it?
Before we move into our stories, do you mind if I share my experience with COVID of how I was kind of came to realization that it was going to actually impact our lives?
Give it to me.
Yeah, so I lived in Florida at the time, as you know. We were living on an island, Treasure Island, beautiful, best decision.
I got married.
Yeah, that's where we got married too. Yeah, so best decision ever. We lived on an island there in Florida. We had, the canal in our backyard with the boat dock and everything. It was just, we did it because we knew that we were moving back to Missouri and we weren't going to ever have that experience. Well, a buddy of mine lived on the island, walking distance from our house. We'd walk over there all the time. They lived on the beach. We'd go to their house. We're over there hanging out. Treasure Island's a busy place. It's a tourist destination. So there's tons of people there. We're going and his girlfriend, my wife, they're like, hey, let's get can you guys go get some stuff? We want to barbecue. We want to go and go grill with our other friends that live even closer. They live basically on the sand and the beach. And so we're like, okay. We walk over to Publix, me and my buddy Dylan. We go get some stuff. We go home and the girls are like, you didn't get what we wanted. We wanted this and this and this. And we're like, oh no, of course. Okay. So we walk back over to Publix Well, from the time we got checked out, got our stuff, walked an eighth of a mile maybe to his house from Publix, dropped off that stuff. Our wives are yelling at us that we did get everything. We turn around immediately. We'll walk back. We go to walk in Publix, and the guy's putting up a sign on the door. And he says, "Oh, sorry, you can't come in unless you have a mask." And we're like, "Well, we were like here 2 minutes ago. What do you mean we can't go in without a mask?" And he said, "Oh, sorry, new rules, regulations that just came out. Everyone's got to wear a mask inside."
You must wear a mask if you want to enter.
We don't have a mask. What do you want us to do? "Oh, sorry, you're going to have to go and get one, I guess." We're like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." So we went home and we tied some t-shirts around our face and we went back and got in.
Yeah. The insanity.
That was our experience. It was real time. Kind of, your experience is much more eye-opening than mine.
It's what I say. I mean, when people say that they argue with me, I said I was in China when they told you COVID was going. I was there. I was in China when it was happening, but it wasn't happening. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. What the Western press was selling to you about COVID and people falling down in China because they're just walking, and that never happened. I mean, that should give you one clue. They're walking around and they just fall down. Right. Well, that never happened, but that is what CNN International was selling at the airport in Hong Kong. When I was there, I watched it. I'm like, what is, I looked up at the monitors. I'm like, what are they selling here? And then I got back, and within 2 weeks of getting back to St. Louis, all of a sudden, in St. Louis in Florida, all of a sudden COVID was all the rage. Right. They had to sell the story. They had to make up this fictional story of people falling down in the streets in China, which any common thinking person would recognize. Nobody was falling down in the streets in the United States. Why don't we have anybody falling down in the United States face planting from COVID? You don't have it because it was just a ruse from the beginning. It's just that you have to, I believe it comes from the Lord above. I really do. I think if you can just get down into your soul and say, God, I don't have to hold on to this lie anymore. I have to recognize that my government is trying to shaft me. I have to realize that the government is playing a game with me. And where is that going to take me? Am I just going to allow my government from now until forever to sell me lies, make me hate my neighbor, make me fight with all of my coworkers, split my family up, sell transgenderism to 8-year-olds? Am I going to continue to allow this to happen, or should I at least begin to ask some questions? And all of you transgenders out there that listen, I don't know if I have any transgenders listen. I'm just saying, but if there's even one, I love you. I just don't think you should be changing your sexuality at age 8. I would rather you wait until maybe you're 22,
God loves
3,
you
4,
too.
5. Yes. Just a little bit older. Make your decision as an adult. That way we don't have to worry that you're being taken advantage of as a young person by some doctor or some phony who's looking to make some money off of you. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Love you. Love all my gay friends, whatever you got going on, whether the 85 genders that are out there. I love each and every one of them. Right? I'm just simply saying, make those decisions when you're an adult and you fully understand what you're doing, not get talked into it or coerced into it when you're 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. That's all we're saying about the transgenders. Okay. Don't get mad. I want all the transgenders to listen to. Fair enough?
Yep.
All right.
Did you know that Edward Bernays was Jewish?
Of course.
Yeah. Just wanted to throw that out there before we move on to our stories.
let me continue on. It says, this is Bernays, and then we're going to get into, I'm going to take a little, we'll take an advertising break and change the advertising up. I want to do it at the top of the hour because we're going to start. Okay. The real show begins on May the 4th. Nobody even really recognizes that. This is all just prep work. This is to show people what kind of show we're going to have, right? I think that I can compete. I think that I have I think I have the, I don't even know what it is, the tenacity to compete in this podcasting world. I think I have the tenacity to do that. I think I have a lot of people that really support what I'm doing, that were willing to help me fund it to get it there. I think Isaiah is a genius. I mean, this is what he did in his earlier life and I'm going to keep saying that, you're going to love it. He is the one that understands the technology and how to work it. We had advertisers last night, you and I were talking about it, who say, Rob, I want to advertise with you, but can you advertise? Can you advertise in these counties in Missouri where I work? And I said, well, Isaiah, can we do that or not? I said, I understand that we can. And we can target the advertising, and I'm paying for it. You're just going to help me get the message out there, but I will target with testimonials and everything else right to where you want the information to go. And who else can compete with me? Honest to God, Isaiah, if we're going to do this and we're going to go after the government, who is fighting for you like I am? Who has a microphone and is willing to put in 8 hours of their day to study and then do 3-4 hours of live broadcasting to explain what we're thinking, allow you to disagree with me, have those conversations, willfully do them in public, bring in politicians, bring in corporate leaders, bring in all of these people to have a real discussion so that we can control the forward motion of our lives. Who's doing it for you? Who is it? Because if it's me and you want to get involved, come on in. but I'm just trying to provide a service and keep the lights on and be able to feed my family as we're doing it. I don't have any big aspirations of rolling around in a yacht later on in life because I don't even like taking a day off. I'd work 7 days a week if I get Isaiah on board with it. We'd work 7 days a week.
I think we have worked 7 days a week since we started.
We have. Okay, Edward Bernays. I'm ranting again. See, they got me worked up this morning. I got to calm down. All right. Edward Bernays. All right, continue on. This is what he says. Group, mind, and control. Okay. Bernays drew on his uncle Sigmund Freud's ideas about the unconscious and crowd psychology. This is how you get masses to move in a direction. Okay. Everybody thinks that they are controlling their own mind. I can tell you as a matter of certainty, I'm a very proud person. I'm a very, very proud person. I did not have control of my mind for almost 20 years when it came to politics. I was living in a fantasy land and I didn't know it. It took an act of God to pull me out of it. And now I have a lot of friends that are still in that bubble and they get mad at me. They disagree with me. They think that watching Fox News makes them more an advanced thinker, if you will.
An ultra-terrestrial.
Right. But this is what they believe because they're watching Fox News all day. And you can kind of see how they comment on social media. You can kind of see where the agenda is coming from. You can see where they're getting their talking points and all this. I cannot get mad at those people, even when they rip me apart and tell me I'm an idiot, I'm a conspiracy theorist and all this other stuff, if you will. It doesn't bother me because how can I be mad at? I was that way for 20 years. You know how many people I screamed down and got mad at because I disagreed with them about what was going on with George Bush or what was going on with Barack Obama. Never really recognizing that both of these parties are just they're puppets. Both of them, not just Donald Trump. All of it's just puppets. Okay, it's just it's a fictional bunch of BS. That's ultimately what is happening, and we don't have a system that we think we have. We just don't have it. Can we fix things? Where's? Let me get my boy. I love this guy. I shouldn't say that. My man. Boy comes off condescending, and I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. But Bryant Wolfen is my man. I love this guy.
Guys understand what you mean when you say my boy.
I know.
Not all. Maybe not the whole audience does, but I understand what you mean.
Let me find.
And just want to throw this out there while you're looking at A Peyton 68, who is one of our subscribers on Rumble, which you can subscribe and be a subscriber on Rumble if you want. They said, "Compete?" ? You are the competition, Rob.
That's true.
Like to hear that.
That's true. Where is my? All right, I can't find it. Oh, here it is.
I really wish we could get an overhead camera so everyone can see how many.
Oh my! And I get frantic too. I don't like 1 ounce of dead time. Right? I see my buddy Max is on there now. Max, he's like you. Max, I'm glad you're listening, Max. I didn't know you were listening. He's out in Richmond, Virginia. I went to school with him. Max is the smartest person, the most intelligent person that I've ever known as a friend. I may have met people that were really bright. And
I remember you talking about Max.
Pick their brain. But Max is somebody that you can get him on the Bible. I think he can recite the Bible from the top of his head. He's just a fascinating guy. And I want him to write, Max, I want you to write for my website when we get that baby up and running. But he's on there. He said, now combine that with the Cohn playbook. All right. He's talking about Roy Cohn. If people would just do their background on Donald Trump, they might at least contemplate the fact that we're getting played. They might contemplate. When I did a podcast from Max's farm one time. And he said, he kind of looked at me like, oh, isn't he cute? He's so cute with his Donald Trump stuff. Look at him go. Right. And he persuaded me to continue on, but he allowed me the rope to learn. Right. He said, Rob, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not what you think it is. And it took me 8-9 years from that point to actually see what I'm now describing to people. But Max is talking about Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was the mentor of Donald Trump. Roy Cohn, right, was the attorney for the mafia in New York. And he said, never apologize, always move forward, always attack, never take one step backwards. That was the playbook. Roy Cohn is the one who was involved in the combination of our intelligence agencies and the mafias. That's why you see people like me, which I'm not big enough to worry about it, and I really don't want to be big enough to have to worry about it. But if you start to organize and get things done, that's where they get mad at you. That's when the hand of the government comes in and they shut you up. It's no different than China or Russia or anything else. Mm-hmm. If you are going to upend their trillions of dollars of fraud in the Federal Reserve and all that nonsense, that's when they come after you. That's when you have to be worried. Max has you got to check out Max's place. Max lives in like a compound. He's got cameras on the trees and nice. Everywhere. Yeah, he's protecting himself. A very smart person. All right.
Smart guy.
I was going to play this clip. Here it is, 8-5. Now, I want people to listen to this. In the state of Missouri, Now, this is everywhere. This isn't just Missouri, but this is Bryant Wolfen doing an interview with Jake Jackson. Bryant Wolfen, I think, is one of the most honest people in our entire Congress, and he fights for the Constitution. He was asked about what goes down in Jefferson City, and just listen to this answer. This is Rep. Bryant Wolfen from Missouri. Listen very closely to what he has to say.
When we don't have a say, your representative, so like the people of the people's lobby, like your representative doesn't really have a say in this building. They're not representing you.
Let me start over because I want people in the back row to hear it. Hang on one more time.
When we don't have a say, your representative, so like the people of the people's lobby, like your representative doesn't really have a say in this building. They're not representing you. That's true. It's just, we just can't.
One more time. Did you hear it good enough? Is the sound good? Isaiah?
Yes. Sorry, I was grabbing coffee.
All right, one more time. Sneaking around on me. I didn't see you back there. All right, one more time. Bryant, now this is a rep who says he only makes decisions that the Constitution gives him, allows him to make. All right, this is where Bryant Wolfen has come from. If you've ever met him, you'll love him. He's a great rep. He's a great advocate for the grassroots in the state of Missouri. He's common sense. He doesn't agree with everything I say or do or anything else, but listen very closely to what he says. I want all of my Republican voters, even Whiskey River, I want everybody to listen to what he says, okay? Because this is the guy that's being honest.
When we don't have a say, your representative, so like the people of the people's lobby, like your representative doesn't really have a say in this building. They're not representing you. That's true. It's just, we just can't.
We just can't.
We just can't. Exactly. They can't. And how could you? And when you really think about it, the leadership of the Republican Party that took in that $25 billion from the feds, if I loan you $25 billion and you, the only way you can survive is my $25 billion that I give to you, what happens when you start doing something I don't like? Do you think I might want to pull back my $25 billion and say, hey, do it on your own then? That is why Thomas Massey said when people were voting on the CARES Act, everybody should have to be at the Capitol in person to make this vote. If we're going to lose our republic with this vote, then everybody should have to come in and take the vote. And he said, lose our republic. Does everybody remember what a republic means? That means that states are sovereign. We have the federal government over here that is supposed to regulate commerce and protect our borders. And that's it. That's the way it was originally designed. Regulate commerce and protect our borders. That was the original role of the federal government. Now they wipe my ass for me. Now they wipe your ass for you and your baby's asses and your grandparents' asses and everybody else. And you have to love them to do it as they're taxing you out of your freedom and putting AI data centers in your backyard that are going to poison you and collect all the data on you so they know what you're doing 24/7. They're putting a digital prison around you, and the Republican Party, because they have to fall in line with this way of thinking, they're getting their money from the federal government who's organizing all of it. Centralized government, if you will.
What's that saying that everyone says, don't bite the hand that feeds you?
Yes.
You know, and so with that mentality or ideology, you know, you're not going to, essentially, right? They're not going to push back because they're, you know, maybe part of their salaries are coming through the funding that the federal government's giving them. You know what I mean?
Could be anything, right? I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that these people are necessarily nefarious. They just don't have a choice. That's why he said you can't do it. You can't represent the people. You know, you don't have a choice to do it. I mean, you can't run your government now. They got the $25 billion from the CARES Act, right? And then they went and spent it.
Yep.
Very similar to my ex-wife. Very similar. If I get 30 billion, she spends 30 billion. I make 50 billion, she spends 50 billion. Very similar. I'm going to call this government, and I love my ex-wife. I'm just teasing her a little bit, but it's the same situation. How much ever money you give to these people, they will spend it. And then the government has complete control over your movements from that point forward. You have to get out from underneath the federal government. And do they want to? I don't know. But when you said handbite, it reminded me of this.
You are a snake. You are a rat. You are a fraud. You are a backstabber. You are a handbiter.
A handbiter. I love that so much.
I love Alex Jones.
I got to get to the main story of the day. People are like, come on, get to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But I got to make a point. I got all worked up and out of my, God, we had a whole show planned. I'm not doing 4 hours today. I refuse to do 4 hours today, but I am going to get everything out. We'll just have to brush it up a little bit. I want to finish with Edward Bernays. This is for the people that can contemplate arguments, right? This is not for people that have their minds made up, as Whiskey River said that I do. I don't have my mind made up. I just am. I'm just wise enough to recognize I don't know exactly what's going on in the world, other than the information that I'm getting is BS. That's what I know. That's the only thing that I'm sure of, is the information shoved down my throat is nonsense. That's what I'm positive of. And I know that the state of Missouri is trying to sell me on things, both Democrats and Republicans. Republicans are in power, but they're trying to sell me on things that are demonstrably untrue. That's what I know for sure. Okay. Now, this is, again, Edward Bernays, related to Sigmund Freud, wrote the book Propaganda and Public Relations, that explains how the shadow government controls the masses through propaganda, repetition, and the like. Okay. Group mind and control. Bernays drew on his uncle Sigmund Freud's ideas about the unconscious and crowd psychology. He wrote, if we understand the mechanism and motives of the group mind, it is now possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without their knowing it. Propaganda as a tool, he wrote. He said he reviewed propaganda neutrally as a necessary technique. He wrote, propaganda is the executive arm of the invisible government. Slow down, everybody, because I want you to understand that, because the people that like my show at least understand what I'm going with. They may love Donald Trump. They may respect him. They may think he's playing 5D chess. I respect all of those different opinions. I do have a lot of really smart people that agree with that. Really smart people, smarter than me, that agree with it. I don't know whether I do or not anymore. I want us to be the press. I don't like the White House Correspondents' Dinner and all those phony fakes. All right, that were there.
But if you don't agree with them, you wanted Kamala Harris to be the president, right?
Exactly. That's the argument they make. It's crazy, right? I want to cackling Kamala. All right. I want people to digest this just for a minute, and then we'll get into what happened with the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It says propaganda is the executive arm of the invisible government. Propaganda is the executive arm of the invisible government. I mean, if we're just going to boil everything down that I believe into one sentence, there it is. The ability to control your mind starts with the ability to control the message that you think about and talk about on a daily basis. That's it. That's it. If I live in this house and if I put it this way, if I was born underground and everything around me was a concrete wall, and food came through a ceiling that I couldn't reach, and just food fell down every day, and I'm able to eat this food, and I got about 8 or 10 people around me, that's all I know. That's all I know. I don't know that there's a big world out there. I don't know that there are fish in the ocean. I don't know mountaintops. I don't know anything, because my understanding of what is going on is boxed in. The way that you control the masses, because you don't want to box them in with walls and the like, you box them in by boxing in what's between the ears. That's how they box you in. They control the narrative and what you think about. Why do you think the federal government wanted to take over the Department of Education? Why would they want to centralize education? Why do you think that is? You think that we couldn't teach ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in Missouri? Why do you think they did that? I mean, they did that because they wanted to control what your kids learned. They wanted to control how they learned. They wanted to control everything that they have to say and think. That's what they wanted to do. Why do you think all of this big money comes in from China into our colleges? Because, again, they want regimented thought. They want very walk-in-line thought. And I got to tell you, George Carlin was the best. Once he began to figure it out and started doing his comedy routines, I still think to this day, George Carlin was the very best at explaining how propaganda controls the masses and why everybody just lets these, as he likes to say, rich cork soakers. You know what cork soakers are? You ever seen the movie Johnny Dangerously?
No.
Oh, you never saw the movie Johnny Dangerously? See, I'm old. Johnny Dangerously was a show where they had it was kind of it was a comedy. Okay. And the bad guy, instead of saying curse words because they wanted to make it a PG movie, cork suckers sounded like something else. And they say, you dirty, rotten cork suckers. And
my buddy accidentally said
when I was in 8th grade, we used to all say that, you cork soakers.
My buddy was on video games playing with some other buddies of mine, and one of our buddies put his daughter on, who's a 6 or 7 years old, and he said, the word that you're pretending to say, and they're like, she's like, what did you say? He goes, oh, sock cutters. You know those sock cutters, man, those dirty sock cutters.
We all
So
make
it's
the
a running
mistake.
joke on our friend group now. Those dirty sock cutters.
I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to clean up my language, but I don't really
Yeah.
get bothered by language. That's the thing now that is an explicit term,
Were
right?
you a
That is,
sailor? Perhaps. I'm just joking.
right. But that's the kind of language that I think is explicit. And I think there should be regulation on that. There are certain
Yeah.
words that aren't explicit. They're just considered bad words for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't really get into all that.
Before you move off, Edward Bernays, while you're getting your next
I'm done.
thought
That was
ready-
it.
No,
That was
while
it.
you're getting your next thought ready, I just want to read this for the people because this is something that you haven't mentioned yet. But if they go on Wikipedia, they can find this about himself. There's a section on there. It says, after the U.S. entered the war, the Committee on Public Information hired Bernays to work for its Bureau of Latin American Affairs, based in an office in New York. Bernays, along with the Lieutenant F.E. Ackerman, interesting, I wonder if he's related to Bill Ackerman, focused on building support for the war, domestically and abroad, focusing especially on businesses operating in Latin America. Bernays
Really?
referred to his work as, quote, psychological warfare, end quote.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought you would find that interesting, and everyone else listening would find that very interesting.
Well, what I find interesting when you read that off is what we learn in our schools, right? Because the reason I would like not to alienate everybody in Missouri is at some point we're either going to have our primary home there. If they lower the tax burden and clean up downtown St. Louis, maybe we move there. If not, I'm just going to go back and forth like I'm doing now. I spend about 30% of the time in Missouri and 70% of the time in Florida, and I think my wife likes that 30%. I wish she wouldn't, but I think she's starting to like get this guy out of here. He's in that studio a little too often. But why don't we teach these in schools? The reason I would like to be aligned with the either one of the parties in the state of Missouri is so that we can start talking about curriculum. The reason our kids don't come out with an understanding of what's going on in their world is we don't teach what goes on in the world. We don't really spend the time to teach our children what their constitutional rights are. We don't spend enough time. Now, we have government class and this and the other, but trust me when I tell you, I went to school in the 80s and they didn't do a very good job of it then. So I can only imagine how bad it is now. But as parents and people who want to protect liberty, if that's something you're into, I'm into freedom. What am I going to tell you? I like freedom.
Well, they still teach that Rosa Parks. It was a whole, they teach you that it was just a random situation and a happenstance. When you really know the story, it's all set up.
Of course it was. Everything's orchestrated. That's the whole point. Yeah. Right? We talked about it this morning, how they're orchestrating things to make me look bad, right? This is not organic, because organic could be one thing, but when it's orchestrated, it irritates me just a little bit. But anyway, let's do Jones Air and Water. Jump him up there. We were talking about him last night. Let's get him off and running. And by the way, before we get too far into it, I'm supposed to be the lead sponsor of my own show. If you would like to donate to People's Lobby, let's do that first.
Yep.
And then we get to Edward. Okay. peopleslobbymo.com. I ask of everybody that is listening, if you've already donated, if you haven't donated, please donate. It can be as little as $5 a month. We're not looking for big if you got big donations, we'll take them. Don't get me wrong. But if you just go there, donate button up in the right corner and just help us spread the message. That's ultimately all we're doing. My show and People's Lobby Missouri, both of the way we're doing both organizations is to use the money that comes in to market us for a further message, to just move the message forward. That's all we're trying to do. When you donate to People's Lobby, we can bring in guests. We can have big public events. We can bring in music. We can make it entertaining. We can make it fun. We can make events where you want to go to them, not because you're going to get preached to, but you're going to have a good time. You're going to see like-minded people, and you're going to learn about how the system works. And if we can bring in some politicians who disagree, we'll bring them in. I mean, we're going to have a full conversation. The first meeting that I had, I brought in a ton of politicians that were there that night. Okay. And I wanted to see who would show up. And then I want to see whether they continue the conversation with me if I begin to pick away at them for simply votes, not personalities, votes. Because I noticed this about some people in the Republican Party in the state of Missouri. They like to pull personality stories out of their hat, right? They'll go, well, if you guys are going to talk to us like that and you're going to be disrespectful, we're just not going to take up your legislation. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What if one person is upset with you who's speaking for millions, but you're not going to do it because this person came at you incorrect? What? Mm-hmm. You know who you work for, right? You're supposed to be working for the entirety of the people. So if Joe Blow comes on and attacks you on social media, but what he's attacking you about is what the people of Missouri want, you can't go up. Joe Blow was mean to me. Joe Blow was mean. Therefore, I'm not passing your legislation. I'm not even going to take it up because you were mean to me. I mean, just think of the insanity of these kind of statements. And this is rampant. I've been watching it all weekend long. Mm-hmm. All weekend long. We should start playing some of those. If we want to get into the Missouri audience just a little bit, we'll play some of those conversations back and forth, and the threads on social media. They're so fantastic.
Yep.
Okay. peopleslobbymo.com. peopleslobbymo.com. Donate, sign up. If you just want to help, great. If you just want to get information from us, because I think really the entirety of what we're doing begins on May the 4th. I would have liked to have done it sooner. I would have had to buy advertising space on my own show when I was on the radio, which we didn't have enough money in the bank to go, okay, we're going to pay ourselves, how much ever money, I don't want to talk about their rates, but how much ever money we were going to have to, I was going to have to pay was going to come out of People's Lobby. And we didn't have a big enough bank to advertise. But that was my original intent, was to stay on the radio, promote People's Lobby Mo, engage with politicians, bring them into a circle, have public debate, live stream the public debate, use our money to spread that message, get billboards, get out to the schools, and really begin to make the politicians have conversations with the people they represent. That was the ultimate goal. Now, can we still do that through the podcast? I think we're going to do a better job. I actually think this is going to work out better. I didn't when I first left. I was nervous.
That's what people are saying in the chat. They're saying, "Oh, this is you thought the radio was big. Now you've got an even bigger platform." Is what people in the chat have been saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I ask. If you give us that, we don't have the money. I don't have it. I mean, I ran through $250,000 just to get this baby up and running of my own money. Ask my wife. She's in there wondering what she married me for. Right? we ran through everything because I left a business where I was very secure. I knew a lot of people. Some of them are on this. Some of them are on this thread today, which is.
I was making 6 figures before this. Everyone.
Right, and we said, listen, we have a bigger calling, and this is what we want to do. This is not easy. I mean, my throat has been killing me for the last 2 days. You were telling me I needed to have some honey. I said, I needed to not talk for a little bit. 4 hours of talk routinely for 5 days a week takes a toll on your voice. It takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on your energy level. It takes a toll on everything. But we're kind of called to do it, right? When God says, hey, this is what we want you to do, you follow in God's plan and you do what you're supposed to do. We need help.
You can only work with your giftings.
Yes, we have to have help. If we don't get the help from our advertisers and through donations, then we're only going as far as people want us to go. If you want me to get out in front of these politicians, if you want me to testify in Jefferson City, I'll do all of that. If you want me to run around with a microphone and get in front of their face, I'll do that. If you want me to explain exactly what I see and invite them on to debate me on it, I'll do that. I'll do whatever you want me to do to make sure that the state of Missouri shrinks that government down to size, cleans up our streets, educates our children, gets out of our lives, except for the protection of our kids and our streets. That's it. That's all they really need to do. They don't need to be bribing people with their own money in perpetuity. And that's not the way government is supposed to work. Certainly not the way small government conservatives think. And ultimately, that's what it's turned into, whether willfully or it just happened that way over time. That's the situation we find ourselves in the state of Missouri. All right, let's get to jonesawada.com. All right, my man Everett Jones, he's in Miami. Everett Jones. Yeah, he's on a little bit of a vacation. He looked like he was having a good old time last night.
He's playing in the water this time.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's still in Miami, but he was in Miami. I think maybe he's home, but I'm not really sure where he's at. JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040 for all of your air and water filtration needs, whether it be home or business. You'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040. He wants me to push these Healthway Deluxe air purification systems. He put one in Dr. Helen Gelhart's office. He took a picture. He said, this is it for businesses that, you're there all day. He kept telling me, he said, Rob, talk about the skin issues. He goes, a lot of people have skin issues, eczema, dry skin, all kinds of different skin ailments from just funky air that's in their house. I mean, you're living in a confined area with air that is not the best. You filter that air, you automatically start to feel better. And ultimately, you'll save money because of all those ailments that take you to the doctor. Make yourself feel better, save yourself on medical cost, clarify or cleanse your air, cleanse your water. JonesWater.com. You'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. If you want to do business with Everett on the Missouri side, St. Charles, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson County. And on the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. JonesWater.com, JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040. All right, let's get back to the show. I want to get into this White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting because I was monitoring all of the conversation that went down last night. We were kind of glued to it. Were you getting into that yesterday? Or are you like me?
Yeah. I mean, it's what, like we, this is just for everyone's understanding, if me and Rob weren't on the show, we would still be talking every day and we'd still be watching the news every single day. That's just because who we are. That's what my wife said. She said, I'm so glad we have a job that you can figure out, how to get paid for something that you do all day long anyways.
Somebody said the app is acting crazy. I heard you.
No, their app on X, because X did something new with their live chat feature where you can actually chat now. They've been trying to get better at live streaming and supporting creators. So the person was just saying that the X app was just acting up for them when they're typing, which it does. It's new. It's a new feature that they've rolled out. So anything new is gonna not be the best,
We'll get it all figured out. Let's do this White House Correspondents' Dinner. Last night when I put up my promo that Mark, what was his name? Cook? Was it Mark Cook? What is it? Jason Cook, the one that went out and kind of bashed me just a little bit. What I was trying to get at were the narratives that were beginning to spread, right? That's all I was trying to get at. It wasn't my opinion on any of these narratives. A lot of people, and I guarantee you there's a lot of people listening today that believe it was orchestrated, a staged event. I don't know that I want to go there. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying that's out of the realm of possibility. That's not necessarily where I'm at yet. I want to see how this whole thing plays out. But let's just get into all of the information that is out there. Let's start with Tucker, because Tucker let's start with the staged people, okay? Because there's, again, when I talk about Tucker Carlson and some of these people, the reason I bring it to your attention is because of the influence that they have over people. They do shape millions of minds, okay? You need to be aware of that. When you hear people, I'm going to play this Tucker Carlson clip, the millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people will see this clip from Tucker Carlson. And hundreds of millions of people don't study politics like we do. And our listeners are very, our listeners are very engaged. They know what's happening. Mm-hmm. But for those people that it just happens to pop up in their feed and they listen to it, they might go, wow, Tucker, who was on Fox News, he's got insight to everything. His father was in the CIA. I bet he knows what's going on and he thinks this thing was staged. And then that's in the back of your mind. Mm-hmm. And then everything that comes up after that, you begin to think everything is staged. And I think a lot of it is, and I think a lot of it isn't. But you commingle the two and nobody knows what's real and what's Memorex. Correct? Yeah. It's just how this is all playing out.
Shiva did a great job explaining it all.
Still the best in my opinion. All right, here's what Tucker Carlson had to say. This is a little bit of a long intro from Tucker Carlson, but he's talking about the event at the Hilton Hotel, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and the shooting by this guy named Cole Thomas Allen. Here's the way Tucker Carlson discussed it. Go.
The coincidence or another staged incident?
Tonight will be classic. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
Hours before the chaos, Caroline Leavitt told America to watch tonight because Donald Trump would bring the heat and there would be shots fired. Then suddenly, real shots were fired near the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Shots fired. The Secret Service rushes in and they let Trump continue to sit there. And now they're going to resume the White House Correspondents' Dinner and Trump still plans to deliver a speech. I'm not saying this was staged to boost Trump's tanking approval numbers, but it certainly looks odd. Trump was rushed out, guests hid under tables, Secret Service swarmed the room. So the question everyone is asking now, how did they know? Was shots fired just political slang or a chilling phrase that aged horribly within hours? Americans deserve transparency. If this was a real attack, security failures must be exposed. If it was political theater, that would be one of the biggest manipulations in modern history. Until the full truth comes out, millions will keep asking the same question: coincidence or calculated?
Okay, so that's Tucker Carlson. So, and now everybody hates Tucker Carlson, right?
My mom hates him now.
He's working on behalf of the Muslims, and I see a lot of hate towards Tucker Carlson. All fair, people love.
I don't agree with a lot of some of the stuff he does say about Muslims. I'm like, I don't know.
What did he say? I don't even know that.
He's more and this is what the narratives. It's like these are the things that make you believe in the back of your head he is being paid by Qatar, right? Uh-huh. Is that he's talking about how the Muslims believe in Jesus and different things like that when.
I think he was making the comparison, though. The one that I saw, he was making a comparison. He said the Islamic faith, the Muslims, believe that Jesus was a prophet.
Yes.
We are siding with the Jewish faith and Judaism, which their Holy Bible says that he's soaking in his own.
He says that Judaism would say he's a rabbi.
Okay.
That's why I have a problem with that.
The Talmud, which is what a lot of people
the Talmud says. Yeah, the problem that Judaism has, and even Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, who's a crazy person,
Well,
right?
him and his wife have a dildo selling business.
I know.
So this is a very holy
Crazy.
man. I'm going to get into the
Kosher
business
sex.
I'm going to get into the business of selling dildos with my daughter. Okay, all right.
But
Very interesting.
but even Rabbi Shmuley Boteach would say that Jesus was a good rabbi. The Talmud says terrible things about Jesus, and so that's what they say. And then there's beliefs too, and I feel that trying to elevate the Muslim belief of Jesus over how Jewish people is a bad comparison, because Muslims would say the same thing, that he's just a prophet and a Messiah, but not the Messiah. You know what I mean? And so when you really understand their beliefs, it's almost the same, kind of viewpoint, because we are, whether a Jewish person is looking at a Christian or a Muslim person is looking at a Christian, they both think we're wrong and that we're infidels, essentially. Both of them do. And so that's my problem I have with it, is that I think it's an unfair comparison to say these, to prop up Muslims as, oh, this is how they think of him, when
he was doing some speeches.
It's hard for me to it's hard for me to get on your page when you're saying things like that. You know what I mean?
I get it. He did some speaking engagements over in the Middle East as well. It was very complimentary of their culture and everything else. He said the streets are clean, the people are well behaved. Everybody seems to be living in a little bit more peaceful existence than when I go back home. But again, I look at that in two different ways, right? I look at with freedom comes responsibility. You're going to have craziness when you're free people. You're going to have a lot of craziness. That's why we have the Second Amendment, to protect ourselves against the government, to protect our property and everything else. Freedom is messy, right? But that's the beauty of the experiment of a government of by and for the people, is we get to determine how we want to live our lives. We do not want our government, who is controlled by big money, to put parameters around everything that we do based on interest that we don't understand. That's my take on the entire situation. Let me get back to one other person who thinks this might have been staged. This guy's name is Michael Yon. We mentioned Alex Jones just a little bit earlier. Alex Jones used to have this guy on all the time. I got wind of him through Ann Vandersteel. By the way, Ann Vandersteel will be on next week. We'll have Ann Vandersteel on. She's got some very interesting things that she's beginning to stories she's developing. And I saw those two together. Now they went to the Darien Gap, and they were looking at how the borders were being infiltrated under Joe Biden. So they were showing you the lines of people, how they were getting staged, where they were going, and they spent I would assume months. And Ann's in her 60s. They're climbing up mountains and side of mountains, and they're kind of showing where everybody's going. Michael Yon was one of these people. Now, Michael Yon says that he's a Green Beret. I don't know anything about Michael Yon. I'm just going by what he tells me, right? And he did get a nice, big, healthy public figure bounce because of Alex Jones. So now people know who he is. So just know where he comes from. He must have been doing a live broadcast when the shooting took place. And this is the way he described it. He says it is definitely a staged operation. Let's hear from Michael Yon. Let's hear what he has to say.
Coming on to talk about the unfolding war in Strait of Malacca, Hormuz, Argentina, Panama, and a few other things. And of course, just as I get to come on, you see the another fake shooting event with Trump. It's obviously fake. It's keep in mind, when it comes to this giant war that's been going on for a long time, Trump is just part of the actual information operation. That's what he is, right? So now we've got this distraction going on. Inevitably, a lot of news will go to the fake Trump shooting, the latest one. And, you can see they're up doing their press conference. And anyway, Caroline Leavitt, by the way, shortly before the fake shooting, was saying there would be shots fired at this press event. It was some kind of, press club event at the White House or wherever they had it. It's a waste of time. We're in a huge war. He's an information operation. Just this morning, by the way, I was looking on eBay about buying old TV guides. For those who still know what those are. Those were programming guides that would show you, what's going to be on television the next week or two or whatever. And maybe they came out bi-weekly. I don't recall. But the point is information operations are actually scheduled like that. I don't know, for those who have actually seen these sorts of things in person, you can see that they program stuff like that in. And it can be programmed in years in advance, months in advance, weeks in advance. So, I mean, these information operations can be quite methodical, right? As soon as the attention rolls off of something, the next one rolls out that they've planned, the stage is set, whatever, right? Space aliens come, those sorts of things. So, I mean, this is just normal. This was just a normal TV guide in somebody's office. It said, and roll them, right? And so probably something else is about to kick off here. As Jason Christoff might say, they were just fixing the gaze with this and, getting your attention, just like the whole television thing is all about. And the whole boob tube is to fix people's gaze and to watch that. Anyway.
All right. What do you think of that, Isaiah? What's your first take when you hear that?
Very interesting.
He
seems very intelligent as far as a well-read person.
Agreed. And what I would say to people is, I know that there are people that will listen. Well, some people just won't listen because it shatters their perspective and they don't want any part of that. They're just like, I don't want to hear that. But if you're somebody who still wants to contemplate information, if you're somebody who wants to figure out what's going on, it means something to you. You're like you're a person that likes to figure out puzzles. You're interested in the world around you. Then stay tuned. We're going to talk about all of these different issues. I don't necessarily believe anything that he says either. I do think that there's a lot of production going on. I do believe that. I think that many of the things that we see on our television sets are staged. I just don't know which ones are real and which ones are fake. That's the problem. But let me give you some information so people can make a little bit better decision. Can you roll up this post from Henry Martinez?
Yep.
Okay. Let me read this to you. So Henry Martinez, and where did he put that out? Was that on Reddit? Where did he put that post?
It's on X.
It's on X.
Yep.
So somebody by the name of Henry Martinez published at NASA in 2014, the very same year that Cole Allen, the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter, interned there. This is what it says. Okay, this is from Diligence Dinzian on X. And then it goes on to say, Henry Martinez is also the same X account that tweeted out Cole Allen's name in 2023 with no other posts. So this is a post. This Henry Martinez made one post on X ever. Never made another post ever. This is just one post that he put out. And the one post, if you could blow that up just a little bit, one post that he put out simply said, if you read down there at the bottom, Cole Allen, right there at the very bottom of the page, it says Cole Allen. That's the only post that this Henry Martinez ever put out. And it was, what is the date there? Is it December 2023?
Yep, December 21st, 2023 is when this
was
posted.
0 following and 0 followers. So this person went out to X 2 or 3 years ago and simply typed in Cole Allen. All right. So just remember that, because it's kind of odd. We need to find out who Henry Martinez is and what this was all about, that he put out the name Cole Allen, and then Cole Allen becomes a potential assassin of the United States, or of the president of the United States, or people in the audience. I don't know who he was into. What else do you find there?
This is remember I was looking for the actual document. I found the NASA document saying Henry Martinez was an author. We were trying to verify before the show, everyone, that Henry Martinez was an author, and I found this document from NASA's website of a paper that he was a co-author on. So it verifies it. So leave that on the screen so people recognize. Yeah. So this is what we were trying to verify. So this Diligent Dinzian. So there's a lot of independent researchers on X. That's one of the reasons I like it. There's a lot of fake ones. There's a lot of BS ones. There's a lot of people that get things wrong all the time. So you have to be very careful. We try to verify it, right, Isaiah? We don't want to throw stuff out there if we couldn't verify it some way, shape, or form. But Isaiah was able to verify it. And this is what it says. A Henry Martinez published at NASA in 2014, the very same year that Cole Allen, the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter, interned there. So they're both there at the same time. Henry Martinez goes out onto X in 2023. The only post that he ever made says Cole Allen. Now, you think it's not theater? I'm just saying, right? Does it make it look like it's theater? This is something right now today, right, that you're looking up that says Henry Martinez worked at NASA. Right? Yep. Yeah.
So,
he published it. It wasn't just this paper. There's other papers that I saw too. I just wanted to pull up to verify. This is a NASA paper on NASA's website. This is straight from NASA.gov. And, I can scroll up. This is the, here you go. 42nd Aerospace Mechanism Symposium. This is in 2014.
Does it give anything about it? Isaiah, does it tell you what this paper is getting ready to be about? Is this is he into space?
It's a little over my head. You know what I mean? Is
it a hard read?
Yeah, it's a hard read. I think it's a bunch of different papers essentially from different people that published different kind of studies, if that makes sense. It's like kind of a an educational document. And so you can see all these different studies from different people, all these authors, right? And so that's what this is compiling. And his subject is testing Orion's fairing separation system. Couldn't even tell you what that means. But
where's my man, Max? Max, are you on there? Give us, tell me what he's talking about. Max will know what he's talking about.
I'm sure he will. Yeah. And so this is super interesting. And the reason I wanted to point out the 2014 on the document there is because you just mentioned how Cole Allen was interning with NASA starting in 2014. Yep.
Right. At the same time as Henry Martinez was there. Mm-hmm. And then he says just one word on X, or one thing on X ever, and it simply said Cole Allen.
Yep. And Pretty Patriot there pointing out his.
Yeah. What is? I saw that. What is Pepe? So tell me what that means. I recognize that, but I don't know where from.
Yeah. Let me add this back. So Pepe.
What is that?
He's really adopted by Nick Fuentes' followers. And so if you look at, there's a lot of anonymous accounts that follow Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes has instructed his followers that most people should not be public with their views because they'll be canceled if they say that they're going to be following Nick Fuentes or that they share his views. There's a lot of people that work in the White House, young people that work in government that follow Nick Fuentes, and he doesn't want them to get exposed. So they make anonymous accounts with pictures like this with Pepe the Frog. And so I don't know if that's what she's talking about, but that's my experience. I know that there's other things to do with Pepe the Frog, and that's why they call them the Groypers is the name that they give.
What does that mean? No, I don't know. I hear him say that all the time. What's that mean?
Yeah, that's the followers. That's the name of that they give into the.
Is it a made up thing, or is this Groypers? I don't know. Is that like I don't even know what that means. Is it just made up?
Yeah, it's just a made up name for the followers. Yeah, and they all use Pepe the Frog.
Okay.
So the funny thing too is that people were pointing out that Pretty Patriot didn't point out is that one, Pepe the Frog, two, he's wearing a tuxedo just like Trump was wearing a tuxedo. And so just some interesting, those are the conspiracy.
He is wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. So those were the conspiratorial things that started flying around.
What is that little painting thing behind there? I didn't even look at that either.
Yeah. So that I heard, that's a painting, I think called Time Machine, if I remember correctly.
That exactly. Cause I heard people all over social media talking about it. And I let things kind of settle in before I start talking about them because I don't want to mislead people on things that I have no understanding of. But I heard people talking about this morning. There were several podcasts talking about time travel and this kind of thing, that these people are going off into the future. That's why they know what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
This is where the conspiracies start growing and growing and growing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's 1,000 narratives out there, and it's, which one do you like to believe in? Well, throw that one at you. Dr. Shiva explains it very well. They'll give you everything you can think of, and then somebody you trust will take that opinion and you'll grab onto them, and you'll never organize, because the idea is to continue to have you debating, fighting, arguing, separating everything in your life, but never, ever organizing. Right?
Yep.
You have to organize if you want to get something done. You got to organize, and you can organize at peopleslobbymo.com. We are going to organize at some point. peopleslobbymo.com. All right. Ali says, I'm all for a good conspiracy, but Henry Martinez is a pretty common name. Well, that's probably true too.
It is. Yes.
But it was just the one thing.
That's why we are saying it's a conspiracy.
But he did, whoever Henry Martinez is, did put out this statement. Whether it's the same one that was at NASA or not is very difficult to know.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ali.
It's just, I just find I think it would be interesting to talk to a mathematician that could tell us the probability of it happening, that an account on X in 2023 reposts the name of the guy who is going to be a shooter in 2026, and that the name on the account happens to be Henry Martinez, who also happens to be someone that wrote a paper at NASA the same time this Cole Allen guy, who was the shooter at this 2026 correspondent dinner, happened to also intern at NASA. So I'd be curious the probability, the number of probability.
Where's what I mean? Max, what's the probability? He'll know. Send it up.
Yes, there we go. Thank you, Ali. That's what I was trying to remember. Pepe originally started with Q. That's where it started. Thank you.
No.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ali.
Seriously?
That's what I was trying to remember, the original origin. Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
All right. Well, let's get to the other conspiracies, because this is what's starting to shape up on social media, and I just got to follow it to its logical conclusion, and we'll try to figure out what's going on. How about clip number 8?
Let's do it.
So clip number 8. What is JD Vance's wife's name?
Usha Vance. Yep.
Usha.
Mhm.
All right, Usha Vance. So there's a commercial or a promotion where the shooter is he's got some kind of invention for wheelchairs so that wheelchairs don't move. So right after this happens, people start to find his name, and they find a video of him where he's in some kind of I don't know what it is, where they're trying to look for new inventions kind of thing, and he's showing his invention of this invention for the wheelchair, which means your wheelchair won't, I think, go backwards. I didn't know this was a problem, but apparently it is, and he was trying to solve it a few years back. As they pan through the crowd, JD Vance is at the same exact function. Did you know that, Isaiah? Have you seen this?
I saw this clip, and I didn't look into it. I just saw that, okay, Usha Vance is there, and then other people were saying, oh, it's not Usha Vance. And
I looked through the original, and it's there.
Yeah.
AI could be playing tricks on us, but the original one is there. Clip number 8.
So the Trump suspect Cole Allen and Usha Vance, JD Vance's wife, were actually in a video in a competition together in 2017, and it was in the news. What is happening? Look at this video. You're going to see both in there. This is at this tech conference where they're trying to get funding. Just look.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
And there he is.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this
is interesting.
Is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent
This seems
Aging into
nice.
the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation
You'll see Usha.
offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors.
There she is.
14 different tech startups
Y'all see
got
her?
to present.
How much of a coincidence is this? Is it just me, or does it seem like we're living in a clown world and they're all laughing in our faces, allegedly? Or is this just one big coincidence and we should all shut up?
Did you see her in there?
Yeah, they have to tell you what they're doing, right?
That's why I played that the other day, because again, every conspiracy feeds into the next, right? That's why I say, we can discuss them. They're interesting, but we have to organize. You just don't. Maybe people like it. Maybe people are getting addicted to the game, right? The game of misinformation, the game of trying to play palace intrigue, figure out what's going on. Maybe people in our society, because of all the indoctrination through the movies and so forth, maybe they like the mystery more so than controlling their own fate.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see the movie?
I think they like to feel right too. People like to feel right.
Oh, for sure.
And so when their source of media is telling them those other people are crazy, they have no idea what they're talking about. That's just how they.
People do like to be right. See, I gave up that idea as soon as I got married.
Yeah.
Once I got married, I knew that I was very, very seldom right. My wife has made that very clear to me. She actually has a cup that says Mr. Right and Mrs. Always Right. And now. Yes. Every time I argue with her, I'm wrong.
I thought
every single time. She's never lost. She's undefeated.
I thought I had a high IQ until I met my wife. Then I realized how dumb I am.
Women are the better gender. There's no doubt about it. Let's get into so the shooter is in a video where he's showing some invention that he has, and apparently JD Vance's wife is in the same video. You can see her plain as day. She's there, and I went to the original. I found it. The original broadcast, and that's her, unless she's got a body double. So these two people were in the same room at one time. Now let's talk about the security, because Allie, she responded to me and she said, Rob, there's this woman on your X feed is lying. There was security there. There were monitors. That wasn't my argument that I was trying to make. Let me just read what was written on X. Okay. Carrie Lake, she was a part of my promo yesterday. Carrie Lake, who ran for governor, and she's very tight with the Trump administration. This is what she put on X about the security at the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. It says, I can't believe how lax the security was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night. Upon entering, nobody asked to visibly inspect my ticket, nor ask for my photo identification. All one had to do was flash what appeared to be a ticket, and they were fine with that. When you consider you're entering a room full of fake news media, 90% of whom hate the president, you would think they would have better security. This is what happened when what sounded like gunfire erupted. On the way out, I called out a bunch of the disgusting media who have been pushing hatred toward President Trump for years. They are a big part of the discord in this country. Okay, that's from Carrie Lake, who said security was very lax and you didn't need much of anything. This is Kennedy. Now, Kennedy used to be on MTV back in the day. I don't know how many people remember Kennedy. And then she got a job at Fox News where she was on the 5. I don't know if she still is. I don't watch Fox News anymore. Somebody might be able to remind me if Kennedy is still on Fox News. But this is what she puts out on her @KennedyNation on X. It says, "We changed hotels at the last minute yesterday and booked a room at the Hilton at 3 p.m. I was never asked for a key, but could have produced one from a different city. Also, never asked for ID and waltzed through the lobby and lower ballroom areas like I own the place. Only saw one LE dog by the red carpet, which also had surprisingly lax security. Having been to this event several times as early as 1995, this was probably the least security I've encountered. Thank God everyone is safe." And then you have this woman who was there. Her name is Mads Campbell. She replies or writes out on X, "My best friend and I went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and we ended up leaving early because something was off. It started the second we got there. Every event we've ever been to, especially at this level, there are layers of security, bags checked, IDs checked, actual process. This time, nothing. We were just asked if we had tickets, said yes, and got waved through. No bag check, no real screening, no line, just thousands of people packed together being pushed toward the doors as fast as possible. It felt wrong immediately, like viscerally wrong. My best friend literally turns to me and says, 'I think something is going to happen.' And then it did. This cannot happen. Not here, not at something like this." So there's this narrative out there that there was very lax security. And the reason I bring it to your attention is Donald Trump tried to sell the ballroom, number one, but it goes back to this old theory that the Secret Service is the reason we're having all of these problems. Remember Dan Bongino? He said the Secret Service, if you're going to try to assassinate a president, you're going to want to work through the Secret Service. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, generally speaking, when somebody in power gets assassinated, it's because of his security, his inner security. That's where you infiltrate if you want to kill somebody. We have Butler. We had, wasn't it Mar-a-Lago where the other guy, the Ralph character, tried to take out Trump? So you've got the Butler, Pennsylvania situation. You have the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump. You have the Charlie Kirk assassination, which I continue to say, let me get off on this rant for just a minute. How in the world does Charlie Kirk have death threats posed against him? Everybody knows it. He's telling people in his inner circle, and then go to an arena where you're at the very bottom of this of the steps, and the roofs are not being surveilled. How is that? Listen, I am not a security expert, but I don't think you have to be a security expert to recognize that if somebody wants to take the highest perch and aim a gun down at you, common sense. I mean, we're talking about third grade level common sense. You have somebody patrolling the rooftops. Do you not, Isaiah?
Yep.
Nobody even talks about. They're like, who did it? It wasn't that kid. It was this kid. Look at this. Look at this from behind. Look at this. Look at that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who's running security at this place? Because I don't think you could be you cannot be a security operation when there's somebody who is in the public eye that has death threats against them, that is going off against some very powerful forces. And you have a public presentation where he's sitting at the bottom of steps and there's rooftops that are wide open for anybody to climb up on top of and take aim. That just, again, it makes absolutely no sense. I think that everybody that was on detail for Charlie Kirk's security should be arrested and thrown in prison. Mm-hmm. I mean that sincerely, because again, what happens if I'm looking down at my phone and I smash into a family and I kill somebody? What happens to me?
Yep,
I'm going to jail for manslaughter, right? And why? Yep. Because it's homicidal negligence. Yep. What is the difference with Charlie Kirk's security? You could not convince a halfway intelligent person over the age of 13 years old that you don't need surveillance of the rooftops when you have a public figure and 3,000 fans watching him give a presentation who has death threats against him. And nobody even talks about that angle. Nobody even really brings it up. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and then the Butler shooting, their excuse was, oh, we didn't want to put Secret Service on there because it's a slanted roof and someone might fall off.
Well, he didn't fall off.
Yeah, and then you guys had to go on there and do all these inspections and take all these photos and videos and do all this evidence collection, and no one fell off the building when you guys were doing that after the fact. So
right, and I want to sing my song, Warenberg Theaters. God, I wish I could sing. And I can't play it now because they'll kick me off. That was a big part of my show.
Warenberg.
I think just a few people know what I'm talking about, but that's what we used to start with the movies back in the day. And I loved it. I still like it when I hear it. All right. And by the way, I don't think we've discussed this yet. The hotel where the shooting took place last night, the Hilton Hotel, it's the same hotel where Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. So let's make some comparisons, can we? This is for everybody if they want to be smart around their friends. Let's just make a couple comparisons. Donald Trump and this situation that occurred last night happened at the Washington Hilton It is also known as the same place where Ronald Reagan was shot in March of 1981. Now let's look at the comparisons. Donald Trump is an actor, right? Donald Trump was on The Apprentice. He's an actor. He's been in cameos in several movies, so he's a media personality and an actor. Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan was an actor. In 1981, he became famous because he could captivate people with his sense of humor, and he knew how to work the screen. He was an actor. Donald Trump, an actor. Ronald Reagan, an actor. Okay? Then you have in Ronald Reagan's assassination, his vice president of the United States was a guy by the name of George H.W. Bush. Where did George H.W. Bush come from? George H.W. Bush came from the CIA. He was the director of the CIA. He would have been the president had Reagan been assassinated. He would have immediately become the president. This was just 60 days after Ronald Reagan became the president of the United States, March of 1981. Now let's look at Donald Trump, also an actor, and his vice president of the United States is a guy by the name of J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is funded by Peter Thiel. Who's Peter Thiel? Peter Thiel is the founder of Palantir. What is Palantir? Palantir is a data surveillance operation. And where did they get their money to start? The CIA. And who would have been the president if Donald Trump had been assassinated? It'd be the guy who was funded by the CIA, J.D. Vance. But it's probably just all one giant
5D chess.
One giant game of 5D chess. All right. And then
Palantir and data. We got Sean Noel here who just joined in, ready to bring him in whenever you're ready.
How much time do we got? We got
2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes. Let me get a couple other things in here. What did I want to get in? Where's my list? I need to check it twice. I'm gonna find out. Oh,
did you want to play this? The Carolyn Levitt clip?
Yeah, I want to talk about the ballroom stuff. So once we do, once we have our interview with Sean, I want to go back. Don't let me forget to talk about the ballroom because apparently that was the biggest thing going was the ballroom.
Yep.
But let's play this very quickly because Carolyn Levitt said shots fired, which I didn't really mean anything by that. I mean, if you want to tie things together, you can. But she said shots will be fired tonight. She was talking about Donald Trump giving it back to the White House correspondents. But this one did catch my attention. This was an interview that was going on at Fox News, and somebody was talking about Caroline Levitt's husband telling everybody to be safe. And that there's a lot of something in the room, and then the phone line went dead on the Fox News interview. Here's how it sounded. This is somebody who got it off their rewinded it and took a phone video of it.
I didn't use that video. I actually just downloaded I found the original video.
Okay,
so play the whole
better. I was gonna say it'd be hard to hear it. So here's the way it went down on Fox News. Again, this is somebody who was sitting with Caroline Levitt's husband, press secretary for Donald Trump, her husband, who said everybody needs to be safe. There's a lot of something in the room. And then right as he says there's a lot of this or that in the room, the phone line goes dead on Fox News. Check it out.
Quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me. And, right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened. And then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV. You did a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time. I did want to add this. While we had a moment, I was just reading.
There you go.
Had his excuse ready to go.
Well, it just kind of plays into some of the conspiracies, right? Because
of course,
you would think that was a very interesting story. You think you'd go back and hey, get your phone back together, call in the producer, and we're going to finish that story up. I don't know that they did, but I haven't seen anything that that story continued on. It was just over and bye-bye. All right, great. Let's bring in our guest. This is Sean Noel. Sean Noel is running for the Franklin County presiding commissioner position. I think he's got some commentary on the AI data centers. And hey, Sean, how are you, my friend? And some other things that are going on in Franklin County that he is concerned about. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
I'm a little bummed out you couldn't be there on May the 5th. I was hoping to meet you in person. I hear good things about you.
Yes. Yeah. We have our son's surgery's coming up on Wednesday, so we're not going to be able to make it. He's got a month-long recovery.
All right, man. We'll pray for you. I know when kids are doing surgery, that's a little creates a little anxiety for parents. I get it. But yes, I want to very quickly Just get your take on these AI data centers, because I believe it's baked in the cake. I think that whoever's running these commissioners' positions, I think the Republican Party, the establishment Republican, this is my opinion, okay, Sean, it doesn't, you don't have to hate me if you disagree. But I think that they have this baked in the cake. I think the money has been spent. I think the people have been chosen, and I think this game is moving forward regardless of what the people say. I don't know if that's the case in Franklin County, but I think that's pretty much the case everywhere. What is your take on AI data centers to begin with, and then what kind of politics do you see going on in Franklin County at the moment concerning AI data centers?
Sure. So AI data centers, I think, are somewhat of a necessary evil. I don't think we need to be putting them in the backyards of the people. When it comes to Franklin County, what I'm seeing is it's a lot of a spot zoning issue. When you buy a farm in the middle of nowhere in an agriculturally zoned area, people aren't expecting to look out their window and see industry of any sort, really, unless it's like an agriculturally related industry. So a lot of people are just unhappy with the spot zoning. There's talks of the environmental impact that could be happening, things of that nature. I personally, if I had the opportunity to vote, would vote no on this, just simply on the spot zoning issue. I believe in a planning and zoning commission that should be people-centered and help us have good stewards as neighbors. And something I've even talked with the people is if there was an option to go to the state and try and make it more competitive so that people around these proposed data center sites could actually compete to buy that property, as opposed to a data center coming in with multi-billion dollars and just buying it out without the option.
What kind of response are you getting from the people of Franklin County? As I understand it now, this is my limited experience. I should throw in a plug for Moe's Pizza. We'll be at Moe's Pizza on May the 5th. We're going to do a live show from Moe's Pizza from 9 to noon on May the 5th. And we'll have some people from Franklin County, and we're going to talk about some Franklin County issues. But my understanding, and I love Franklin County. I'm out there all the time. I just dig Franklin County. They've been very accepting of my show and my stance on things. As I understand it, they don't want the AI data centers. The people of Franklin County just don't want it. There's no push for the AI data centers. There's only push against them. That I would think that would be enough normally. Normally, the people win when they understand the issues and they begin to fight their government. But I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I have a feeling it's going to be jammed down their throats, kind of like Festus.
So I've been to all of the county level P&Z meetings. I can tell you there's a lot of people that do not want the data center. I'm talking, there's a petition out there of almost, I think it's 6,500 no signatures, if you will. We have to look into, the actual signatures to make sure that they are residents. But, I'm thinking that's a lot of Franklin County people that are saying no to this data center. I've literally had 9 people come up to me and say yes on data centers, 9, and 2 of them are in with the deal, working for Provident, et cetera. 9 does not speak volumes to me in favor of data centers. When I drive down, 185, Highway O, all these rural routes in our county, that's what I think of when I see Franklin County. And back to your earlier question, I'm not buying that we need to build these data centers at the rate that they're claiming.
Right.
Again, data centers have a use, but at the rate that we're building them, I just don't see why we need this many this fast.
That's kind of where I'm at. You're at the same page with me. I think Isaiah and I talked about it. I have friends that I talk about it. I said, listen, I'm not necessarily AI data center, but in order to sacrifice potentially the ground and the water, you're going to have noise issues. You're going to have a lot of construction. So you're bringing people from all over. I'm sure it's not going to be just Franklin County workers. They're going to come from everywhere. So you just have the disruption of the build, right? Tell me what the benefit is. Have they told you, like when you're talking to these people, they go, listen, this is why we have to build these AI data centers so fast. This is what the people are going to get out of it. It's going to be so fantastic. We're going to advance society in this manner. What is the need, as you understand it, for these AI data centers? Because I continue to ask some of the establishment people, and been around the governing apparatus in Jefferson City for quite some time. They don't really ever give me a good answer as to what the necessity of them. I'm like, what is the big benefit? If people don't want them, it must be something really great because you guys want them really desperately. What is the benefit to the people? And I've yet to get a really good answer.
Yeah, you're with the majority of the voice I'm hearing in the county on that one. I don't know that we've been given a very good answer on that. And that's an issue, and I don't think things like NDAs necessarily help. I'm under the opinion that elected officials should be very careful, if at all, being involved in NDAs. it doesn't help the people trust you. You know, you choose to go for election to represent the people's voice. And, you know, that's where I'm at in this campaign. You know, I'm hearing an overwhelming amount of people say, no, it's that simple.
What happened to these NDAs? What are we talking about here? So, because I heard this out, and I think it was in, we did something in Warrenton, and the person that was putting on the demonstration, what's happening here with my phone? The person who put on the demonstration said something about NDAs back then. So, are public officials signing NDAs so that they don't have to share with the people what information they have? I mean, how can that possibly even be legal? That seems crazy.
I'll even throw this in here because I'm an elected official. I'm an alderman in St. Clair, and there's things that I've been told about developments coming here, and we don't have NDAs, but the city's asking me to be quiet and not talk about certain things because they don't want the public to find out. And I talked to you about that, Rob, because I had a moral dilemma. And so I can tell you from firsthand experience. Just wanted to hop in here really quick and kind of tell you my experience as well.
Do we know why, though? I mean, I'm not saying anything's nefarious going on, but why would a government want one of their elected officials to keep information from the public they serve? That seems kind of counterintuitive to me.
Because it goes back to what I told you, Rob. We know what to tell you. You can't tell us what to do. We'll tell you what to do. That's the problem.
You can control the narrative.
I don't want to take over. I want Sean to have plenty of time. So I just
you can control the narrative, basically, right? Yeah. So that's how you roll out the information as you deem fit. Okay, I got you. Sorry, Sean.
No, you're fine.
Isaiah jumping in there.
Well, one of the things that I brought up to our county government was when our elected officials sign an NDA, what that looks like is we're putting the protection of the business and its proposal before the people. You know, and if there's an NDA that absolutely has to be signed, then can we at least look at having the people directly impacted within a certain radius of this project or something involved so that they know what's within that NDA? And maybe you hold them just as liable as elected officials because they signed the same NDA. You know, and that might muddy some waters in some degree, but the people need to know what's going on. As soon as anything is mentioned about the public, there's no reason to hide it from the public. You were elected to talk about the things that the public wants and needs to know and have a two-way conversation with them.
Yeah, it feels like just in general, there's been this, I made a post the other day on social media and I said, it always feels like I'm kind of playing a chess game with my government. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be the bad guy that's pointing out all the things that I don't understand. I just want you to tell me, I want you to be transparent with me. If you're going to spend my money, if you're making decisions on my behalf, bring me into the conversation because that is a government of by and for the people. If you're hiding information just on its face, even if it's not nefarious, it certainly doesn't look good for office holders to be signing NDAs to keep information away from the people they serve. It seems counterintuitive.
Well, and I will say that the NDA regarding the Beltline proposal is no longer in effect. That kind of went away a few weeks ago now. But, you know, with the recent P&Z recommendations, that's kind of null and void, I guess, at this point for the time being. But I will say one thing about Franklin County is I know that at least two of the commissioners are not convinced either way. They're still gathering the information. They're digesting what is coming from P&Z now because there is a process there. I know a lot of people think the current presiding commissioner has made his decision, but I know that the two associate commissioners are still in that research phase of trying to figure out where to go from here.
And you're speaking of Peter Kinder?
No, so the presiding commissioner is Dave Schatz.
Oh, Dave, what am I? Peter Kinder.
No,
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. Yep. I apologize. So Dave Schatz is the one who they believe has already kind of made up his mind. And
right. That's what the people are believing right now. You know, just the interviews he's had are not very welcoming, in my opinion, toward the people and what they're wanting in this situation.
Gotcha. Okay. What else is on your agenda? So AI data centers, as it is now, you would want to have a longer public discussion with the people. If it does have great benefit, let's find out what it is. We can watch maybe some other areas put up their AI data centers to see if there's any potential problems with water, soil contamination, air pollution, this type of thing. And I think that's wise. I just think that's what people are asking for. I don't feel, you know, this is the argument I get back at me from the state level is that, Rob, you don't understand. We're in a race against China. And I said, well, listen, you got to back off just a minute for me, at least, because I believe that these are all red herrings. I believe that you create a boogeyman and then you get us to racing into getting things that we don't understand because nobody knows what's going on in China. Right. I mean, it just feels like an argument that I can't. How do I fight against an argument like that? I don't know what's going on in China. I'm not in the CIA. I'm not in the military. But if you have to build these to protect me, I feel like we have enough weaponry to protect us at this particular moment in time to begin with.
Yeah, I think, you know, I have a background in the military that tells me I don't think we're at that point where we have to be rapidly building these to a point where it's national security. I think we have enough capability, in my opinion, on this front that we don't have to, start steamrolling people's properties and building these to that degree that we're being told.
Yeah, I think
I'd be curious to see what the ratio is of government-based data centers versus Meta or all of these other ones, because I feel like a lot of it's probably more private entities than anything. But I
get the same sense as you do. And I'm not even sure how private they are. They say they're private entities, but I think they might be controlled a little bit by the feds to begin with. What else is going on out in Franklin County that you want? I watched one of your videos the other day. You come off as very, you come off charming to me because I kind of sense that you're not trying to put on a show. I like that. You're just trying to get out information. You don't look like you're trying to trick or deceive, in my opinion, just watching you. But we haven't met. I'm just watching. What other issues are on the agenda out in Franklin County that you want to weigh in on?
Well, you could really distill the data center thing down into all pre-existing issues. It's taxes. It's making sure that our highway department has the resources they need to continue to do a great job on our roads. I mean, one of the primary responsibilities of your commissioners is roads and bridges. We have hundreds and hundreds, I think it's over 700 miles of county roads here that we have to maintain. And we really need to get back to focusing on those things as well. I really wish that we could just look at this data center situation, do what the people want us to do on that, and move on to the everyday pains and sufferings of the people. Like you're saying with the charm that I'm, using and all that, I don't know of a more transparent candidate. I literally screenshot all of my MEC reports and put it on my election page on Facebook so that all of the hurdles that you have to jump through to get to the information are removed. You can see exactly where our campaign dollars are coming from and going to. And the people deserve that kind of stuff. I'm a small business owner. People want to know more about that, so I don't use it, presiding commission to my advantage, to my business. I put the SOS link on my page so that people have every piece of information they need to go do the digging and hold me accountable now and beyond. The transparency starts now. It doesn't start once you're elected.
Right, exactly. Do you sense this from the general public? Because I love Franklin County. I love the area. I think it's beautiful. I think the people are very patriotic in Franklin County, so I dig the area. Do you sense that there is distrust within just government entities at this moment in time? What is your sense from the people?
I would, I say this is an endearing compliment to the county. I think the show me state mentality probably started here in Franklin County, right?
Beautiful.
Like, you can't just say, this is what I'm going to do. This is my values. They expect to see it. And I would say that a majority of the feedback and the comments and the messages I get via the campaign page is holding me accountable, literally saying, hey, you said this, but here's what I, am seeing or hearing. And I would like to sit down and talk with you, not just get a, virtual message back. They want to be in front of you. They want to see it. They want to hear it. And they're going to hold you accountable once you're elected. And I love that. That's what we need.
When is your election?
It is August 4th is the primary, and then November 3rd is the general.
And if you win the primary, you'll win in Franklin County, I assume. So the primary is the fight, most likely.
Typically that's how it goes, but the data center is adding a very interesting political dynamic in our county. There are a lot of people that are on the left that are supporting me just because I'm willing to publicly say no on data centers, and I'm willing to talk to anybody. But typically, yes, the Republican winner goes through the general pretty easily.
Gotcha. And how do people find you if they want to donate to your campaign, if they want to help you out in any way? How do people find Sean Noel?
So it's citizensfornoel.com, and that's our website. It'll get you to the Facebook contributions and everything like that. And if I may, really quick, tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m., we'll be at Peggy's 19 in Union. That's at 618 North Washington Avenue in Union. We'll be doing a meet and greet where I'll be doing some talking in front of everyone. And then we'll be doing some handshaking, some informal conversation, just getting to know each other.
Great. Will you do me a favor, and we'll put that up on the screen just a little bit later on as we're talking? If you can send that to Isaiah, we'll put that out. So we have a lot of people that pay attention to the show out in Franklin County. We'll get the information to them. I wish you all the best. I hear good things about you. I would love to see some transparency in any part of government. I just like transparency, and I like open conversations with the people. I think we got to get back to that. Everybody's fighting too much, Sean. We just need to say, listen, I disagree with you, but I'm going to be out in front. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, and then actually do it for the right reasons and the right agenda, not some nefarious motive that nobody knows.
Let's fight for the people, not the parties.
Oh my God, I love that. I like you already. You sound like that might be the tagline of my show. Sean Noel, very best of wishes to you, my friend. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Isaiah.
I was going to say, have you heard about the Jeffrey Winehouse story at all, Sean?
I have, and I'm going to watch that documentary literally once we're done here.
Amazing.
Yeah, let me know what you think, Sean, because that was one. Since we're talking about it, it's a story that just blows my mind. I had his son on. We went through the entire documentary on my show, and I let his son kind of comment on it. It was something that I was unaware of, which is kind of crazy, but I consider myself an independent journalist. I'm not rattling cages the way that Jeffrey Winehouse was. Jeffrey Winehouse took on some very powerful entities and got right up in their noggin. I'm a little bit more, I want to fight through the system. I want to talk through the politicians, not the money behind them, but the politicians themselves, because big money has always tried to control politics. I mean, there's not much you can do about it, but the politicians are there to protect me from that big money and work on behalf of citizens. That's the way I see it. Jeffrey Winehouse, that story to me, when you watch it, it looks to me like he was assassinated because he was ruffling some feathers to me. It looks like it's a relatively easy, open and shut case. And yet the man sits in jail for 30 years. I mean, can you imagine that? You got kids, right? You're getting ready to have your sons, getting ready to have a surgery. Can you imagine being a father with young people and all of a sudden you're plucked away from your family and thrown in jail for something that you can watch on video didn't happen?
Yeah.
You watch it on video. I mean, the guy videotaped the whole thing and he's in jail for shooting a cop when he didn't shoot a cop. And the cop that did shoot him was on Ambien and Prozac at the time that he shot him. That was withheld from the jury. Everybody in the know knows what's going on. There's court documents everywhere. You can listen to the testimony, read the testimony. And this poor guy has been in prison for 13 years. And I don't know. I'm one of those people that finds injustice like that. It just kind of hurts my soul to know that my fellow Americans, people of Franklin County and the people of Missouri are not coming to his rescue. It just feels like power wins and the little guy loses. So I hope when you see it, you'll agree and join our side. And if you can, I'd love to have more conversations with you about that. If you become the presiding commissioner, it'd be fantastic to have you as an asset for us.
Yes, sir. I'm always open to it. Thank you.
You got it. Sean Noel, have a great day, my friend. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you. You as well.
Right on. Sean Noel. He is running for the presiding commissioner out there in Franklin County. I hear good things about him from everybody. Do you? What's your take on when you meet him and talk to him? You feel good about him?
He is the only, besides Tim Baker, who's also one of my favorite elected officials.
We like Tim as well. Yep.
Tim Baker and Sean Noel are the only two elected officials who sent me a message after I got elected. And many people know that I was running or were supporting me in my race. I didn't know Sean from Adam, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And he reached out to me and congratulated me on my race. And so, I just think that shows the type of character he has and the type of person he is. He knows nothing about me. He doesn't know me, but he knows that if he's going to be the presiding commissioner of Franklin County, he's going to have to work with me because my city is in Franklin County. And so I just thought that was really cool. I have met Dave Schatz. I've met Paul Overschmidt. I've met Ken Cox because I went and put myself out there and met them. They didn't come to me. And so I don't have anything against any of them necessarily. Like he said, everyone in Franklin County is not the fan of Dave Schatz. But that's my experience.
Was he nice to you when you met him? Was he charming when you met him?
Super. He didn't even know I was running for alderman, down to earth kind of guy, really nice guy. Had a great conversation about Highway 47 that they're widening out here. And so it was like my opponent in my alderman race. I met her and I didn't have any, terrible experience with her. Right. But I know that she's not the right person for the job. And so, I think that's just my experience with Dave. Is like, hey, he's a great guy. Seems nice, smart guy too, even. Right. But just like Jake's putting on here, right. He's the thing that really raised.
Do you know the backdrop on what Jake's talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is what my red flag was. I said, wait, he wasn't elected. He was appointed by Mike Kehoe.
He was appointed, and Mike Moon tried to filibuster. It was a big controversy when I was at the radio station. We talked about that quite extensively. And again, I don't know the man. I only hear rumors about what's going on. I've invited him, and I know through some people are trying to invite him to our meeting on May the 5th. I have no ill will towards anyone, even the people that are against me politically. I don't have any ill will towards any of these people. I continue to say this: if we have public discussions, we will change the hearts and minds of even the people that disagree with us. At some point, everything becomes self-evident so long as people are talking about it. It is when we demonize each other. It's when everybody else is the bad person and I'm the good person. And everybody has this higher sense of moral superiority. That's when everybody begins to fight. If we just have these conversations, we do it as good citizens, we'll fix our country. And if we don't in a relatively short order, I think we're in big trouble. I think the ingredients for total and complete power and control by the establishment is within the distance from here to there is not far. It's doable. And then we got to say, well, do we trust our government? And I don't even think I'm supposed to trust my government. Right.
Yes.
I want to play this because we're going to take a little break here and then I'll get everybody set up.
Wow. Sean didn't even mention this. This is the type of humility he has. He just is messaging back and forth with someone on Facebook who's interacting with him in our chat. He's a disabled veteran. Did you know that?
No.
That's amazing.
No.
Wow.
No, I watched a little bit of him, and
most politicians would be putting that front and center on all of their advertisements and things. You know what I mean?
They want to sell that big time, right?
Yeah.
My take of him when I was watching him do them, it's hard to do. I was telling you last night, when you do these promos, I might do it 50 times to get it right. Right? It's just so aggravating to try and do it. And I was watching him do his, and I'm like, oh, I know what you're going through here, brother. You're trying to get something out. It's like a little minute, and you want to say what you have to say, and you're looking into the phone, and all you can see is your mouth and your face staring back at you as you're doing it. It's very uncomfortable. And I was watching him try to do it, and I thought he just seems so normal,
down to earth,
just trying to get this out. And hopefully he's the real deal.
And as a Franklin County resident, he's the only one who's keeping me informed on what's going on. I am an alderman, and I can't even make it. First of all, the meeting planning the commissioner meetings at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Okay. So who's going to make that first of all, right? But I'm an alderman and I can't even make all those meetings.
You can't make that one for sure. You're obligated to something else.
Something more important, right?
Now you're going to get yourself, and they're going to clip that.
I know. I'm just teasing, guys. I'm just teasing.
I'll clip that on.
Are we allowed to still joke around here?
I think it's still legal. Look it up though. Let's be sure. Yeah. I think you could. I think at least you can have your opinion so long as it is not against Israel. So you can have any opinion you want, but not against Israel. And you can joke about anything you want to, except if it aligns against Israel, then it's not funny. Okay. So just remember that. That's easy. It's easy to remember. Everything is still free in this country unless you're disagreeing with something the Israeli government has to say, or if you want to joke about Israel, that's no longer funny. That's how it works. That's just those are the rules now in Missouri. Those are the rules around the country. So long as we all know the rules, everything should be fine.
Yep. Yeah. Sean says I'm never scripted, which makes it pretty natural. Yep.
I don't script it either.
That's what it seems. That's how it seems when I'm watching the videos myself.
I think everything should be unscripted. I don't think people should be able to read script anymore.
I told you guys, it's my fault that Rob's recording these videos and he's frustrating himself. I told him, I said, you got to get this information out to the people. This is so good. It's just record a quick video and tell the people. And
well, we're going to start promoting those. That's why I want to get better at it, because I have to get better. I think by nature, I do the clips well. So I think the reason the show will be good is I just have
clippable content.
Clippable content. I think that's the way it is. The way my mind works and the rhythm of the pace that I speak is really good for 1 minute of, I can explain something really quickly in 1 minute that somebody goes, I didn't know that. Or I can do it in 2 minutes, 8 minutes. I don't know. I can get long-winded at things. That might not be my best, but if I can, that might be good for interviews, right? The 8-minute clips. But I think a 30, 60, and 2 minute clip where everybody fights. This is where the podcasting world fights, is in these clips, and whether they go viral or whether people spread them or not. I think I'm going to be able to compete in that arena so long as we have money to buy advertising space and that kind of thing, which is happening again. Should I do it one more time? peopleslobbymo.com. peopleslobbymo.com. We need your help. I mean, I don't want to turn into Alex Jones here, but I'm just saying we're not going to where we want to go unless we all go together. We have to get in the boat together. It can't be just me and Isaiah. But trust me when I tell you, I take a lot of heat for everything that I do. People hate my guts. Isaiah, they hate me, or at least they outwardly appear that they hate me when they get out on social media. But all we're trying to do is make the world a better place to live in. That's all. And I'm trying to get better as we do it.
One step at a time.
I don't know if it's working, but
the ballroom fiasco. That's what you wanted me to remind you about. The ballroom fiasco.
Let's do JP Sears first. What time?
All right, let's do it.
I'm gonna do that, and we'll do the ballroom. So let's do JP Sears. When we come back, we'll do a couple commercials, and we'll do some at the end of the show, and then we got to figure out how to lay out commercials, because I think we're gonna have we got a lot of advertising coming our way, and I got to figure out how to space these so they stay consistent with the message. I want to make sure that we put out these videos so that we make sure we take care of our advertisers. Very important to me that they do well. But we got to figure out how to space that to make the show nice and clean, and then get those clips out into targeted areas especially for our local advertisers. So we got to figure that out.
I think you're doing a good job today.
Well, better. We did too. And we still have like 6 more. They got a new advertiser who I think there's going to be a big storm. And he's like, can you start? I said, I could start Monday. He goes, can you? And I said, we'll start on Monday. Big storm. And he's he does siding and roofing, so he thinks the storm is coming. It's like
People are going to need to call him.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Gosh used to say, or I used to say about him. I said the hail dance is coming. He's out there. Bum, 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 bum. Let it hail, baby. Let it hail. Hail means
What
money.
the hail?
What the hell's going on around here? All right, this is JP Sears. Everybody know JP Sears? I like JP Sears because he does sarcasm very well, and I like sarcasm. So he's talking about
the comedian we were just watching that you were talking about, kind of similar. We just watched it like last week or something. You're saying, "Oh, this guy's sarcasm." Oh,
I know who you're talking about. It wasn't Foxworthy.
It wasn't Foxworthy. No, it was someone else. Was it Jim Brewer?
He's sarcastic too, but I don't think that's the one we watched last week.
No.
Who was it?
Sebastian?
Sebastian.
Sebastian. Yeah.
Maniscalco.
That's right. Yeah.
Maniscalco, I think is the way.
Yeah.
Somebody.
That's the guy that just reminds me. Their styles essentially.
Yeah. he's funny. All right, let's do JP Sears now. Again, JP Sears is talking about now. My Donald Trump supporters, don't get mad. He's just saying, how are you coping with life when Donald Trump takes the exact opposite position as he did 10 years ago on like 19 different things? How are you justifying this to yourself? And he does a little skit back and forth where he's arguing with himself over Donald Trump. Check it out. JP Sears, everybody.
I want a good example of a man. Lindsey Graham. He's a guy right there. And he's not even gay at all.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think of the Biden administration funding Ukraine?
Hated it. We should have been keeping that money in America.
What do you think about the Trump admin funding Israel?
Love it. I think as American Christians, we should also be Jewish.
What do you think about the FBI's narrative that JFK was killed by a lone gunman?
Not likely. You can't trust those guys.
What do you think about the FBI's narrative that Charlie Kirk was killed by a lone gunman?
Well, that's what happened. You heard the FBI's report. That makes me so mad. Can you believe all these idiot grifter conservatives out there betraying Trump? The woke Reich. That's what I call them. It's a pretty clever name.
You agree with everything Trump's doing?
Yeah, 100%. That's what my critical thinking leads me to believe. 100% agreement with everything Trump says.
Even when he changes his mind or betrays a campaign promise?
He's never done any of that. But you know who has changed? The woke right. Fucking roasted him again. The Tucker Carlsons, Alex Joneses, people on Twitter. These people supported Trump for years. Then all of a sudden they betray the guy. Like, what is up with that?
So as a Trump loyalist, you don't even think it's been you and Trump that's changed?
No, I haven't changed my stance on anything. I've stayed true to my values. Unlike these crazy nut jobs.
Right. What do you think about Trump's campaign promise of no new wars?
Loved it.
And what do you think about being in a new war with Iran?
Love it.
Do you know you're contradicting yourself?
No, I'm not. Trump promised no new wars. Wars, plural. We're in a new war, singular. He didn't start new wars. He started one new war. Idiot. Like, Trump didn't break any campaign promises.
You gotta be kidding me. Do you think it's okay that Trump just wants to move on from the Epstein files and not prosecute anyone?
Yeah, that's what's best for our country.
Have you always thought that?
Yeah.
All right. What about when you wrote, #1 priority is to arrest the Epstein criminals? Trump will do that. Kamala won't.
I don't think I ever wrote that.
It's on your Twitter.
I might have wrote that, but you're taking that out of context.
That's your whole tweet. It's the entire context.
No. Like the context of the moment. Like in different times, different words have different meanings. Words change with the times. It's evolution. Like, get with it. And you know, those traitors like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, they're just trying to push this stuff because they want to backstab Trump. That's what they're doing.
So you don't like them?
Not at all. They're despicable people.
On MTG's tweet from a year ago where she pledged to fight to get arrests made, you commented to her, "Thank you, MTG. These Epstein criminals need to be brought to justice. You're doing God's work and are a true patriot."
Well, did you know she's a traitor?
All right. What do you think when all the leftists were calling Elon and other conservatives Nazis?
A bunch of just psychopathic leftists. They're just trying to smear the character of good people because they don't have the legs of truth to stand on in their own political positions. It's just despicable.
I can see on Twitter that people like you and Mark Levin are repetitively calling other conservatives Nazis. A lot.
That's because they're Nazis. Like Tucker Carlson, he has an actual gas chamber at his house, from what I hear.
I'm pretty sure that's a sauna.
You want Jewish people to die. I mean, could you find me a more unpopular guy than Tucker Carlson?
You say that Tucker's unpopular, but he's got the #1 news podcast.
Oh, give me a break. You actually believe statistics. Tucker's always been a fraud.
From this pic of Tucker campaigning for Trump, you said, "The great Tucker Carlson campaigning for Trump and America first. I love this guy."
Are you funded by Qatar? You seem like it. Tucker is. I know that for a fact because Laura Loomer said he is. And she's mentally healthy. And I'm really starting to think you're a foreign agent, maybe with the Soviet Union.
That's not a country anymore.
Well, it won't be a country for long with all the nukes Iran has.
All right. What do you think about the members of Congress getting rich off of insider trading?
Lock them all up. It is not right for them to personally get rich when they should be focusing on bettering the lives of Americans.
Since Trump took office, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's negotiating with Iran, is now a billionaire. Trump's sons have allegedly increased their net worth by 800%. And Trump's net worth went from 1.4 billion to 6.5. What do you think about that?
Hey, the world's a casino nowadays. Don't hate the player.
Any final message to the former Trump supporters that have abandoned him?
Yeah. To those low IQ morons, I would just say, you guys are hypocrites, and the establishment has your best interest in mind. Just surrender to it. Oh, dude, look at this. I love what Trump's doing with Palantir. Heads up on the dog poop right there.
There you go. I think it's hard. My friend Allie, I love Allie. She is she's a Donald Trump supporter, I think, to the bitter end. She doesn't make excuses for everything. She questions some things, but you know, it does rub people. I really think it's in the subconscious where you actually believe, and maybe it's true. Again,
she's right. He didn't start the war. Israel started the war.
That's what I'm saying. but they're ending what war? They're ending a war that we started in 1953 when we took over their society. That's the war that started. We started it, Allie. It wasn't them. We did it. The United States. CIA and the British came in and took over their government and placed the Shah there, and they didn't like it, and then they revolted in 1979, and now every time we surround them with Israel and all their proxies, they push back against them. We call them terrorists for doing so. I'm not making excuses for Iran. I just don't live there, and my government lies to me all the time, and the reality is this is just a fact. I want Isaiah, can we at least say that I want him to win? I will, whatever war that my military guys are in. I love the military. I've said many times, I do not have the courage to go fight. I was certainly at 18, 19 years old. I don't think you got a gun in my hands to go fight in a foreign nation. So I really respect military members. And when we're in war, I am rooting for them. But the reality of what went down in Iran was based on our intrusion into their land. That's just a fact. Our own government doesn't say that there's anything different than that. That's what our own government tells us, right? We wanted the oil. We wanted the oil.
And I don't know if everyone knows this, but the specific company that was enriched through the overthrowing of the coup in the 1950s is British Petroleum, BP.
Right. BP.
They got all the oil from that. Right. So that's, just think about that. You know, what kind of gas stations do you see all over the country in America here?
Right.
BP.
And you know, and another thing that's just interesting about the whole situation is our country, and I think it's through the propaganda, right? We believe that everybody wants to be like us. We believe that everybody wants the freedom to have porn sites on their phone, and we want the freedom to be able to keep our convenience stores open all night long. We want the freedom to be able to work 365 days a year without a day off. We have the freedom to work until we're 75, 80 years old and maybe get some security Social Security that we put into the system. These are the things that we love about our society. We love transgenderism. This is they don't like it over there. They prefer a more disciplined society, and at least their government does. And as I say, if they want to overthrow their government, let them.
Mm-hmm.
Let them.
Yep.
Let them have them on. That's all. I don't want to get involved, and there might be more to it, though. That's why I say that's why I don't really want to get into the Iran war. All I say about the Iran war is our perception that all Muslims are looking to kill Americans and that bombs are coming our way. I think it was Ann Coulter who said that's the most. Ann Coulter, I mean, she's pretty conservative, right? She just did something on social media where she said the argument that we're taking this nuclear weapon out of their hands is so ridiculous. She said it's just a red herring. It's just to get you all riled up that they want a nuclear weapon. She said mutual assured destruction works. And it works because multiple different countries like North Korea already have nuclear bombs, and all they want is to protect their society. They don't want foreign intrusion into their society. Pakistan, for the love of God, has a nuclear weapon, right?
Yeah.
It's just a way to get us to go to war, in my opinion. I just think it's a way to convince people to support war. Is they sell this to you on your television sets every day. The depictions in our movies are that all Muslims are running around like lunatics trying to kill people. Has anybody seen the pictures of Abu Ghraib? Do you know what Abu Ghraib is?
Mm-mm.
Look up Abu Ghraib. Can you go to Google Images and look up Abu Ghraib, and then I'll start doing this. I'll finish with this White House correspondence. Let's do this because I think this is actually more interesting.
Ghraib.
Put Google Images Abu Ghraib. Naked soldiers or naked Iraqi soldiers.
Here we go.
Okay. So this is what was happening during the Iraq war so that we all understand. So this is what other countries see us doing. People have to recognize there's two sides to a story sometimes. Doesn't mean we can't root for our side, but we must at least be aware of the way the other side perceives us. That's fair, isn't it? I mean, is that like anti-patriotic, or I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Jew hater for saying that, Isaiah? I don't know anymore. I'm starting to wonder how people perceive everything.
Well, if you don't like Israel, you're a Nazi.
I mean, I don't understand the arguments anymore. It scares me because I think I'm being okay. So this is what was going down. See if you can pull up some of these pictures. Pull up any one of them. So this is our government, right? So this is what happened when we entered Iraq. We took these people as prisoners, and we put them out like this, and we began to shock them. And this was coming from our government. Okay, this is what our military was doing.
Enhanced interrogation techniques.
But this is what their people see us doing. So when you look at this, so when you say that the Iranians are terrorists, which many I'm sure are terrorists, and I mean terrorists mean fighting a war because they don't have the military, so they do insurrection type stuff, and not necessarily insurrection, but guerrilla type tactics. But this is what the world sees us doing. There's one where there's a whole bunch of Iraqis stacked up naked in a big pile of naked Iraqis, and there's a couple military officers with a thumbs up taking a picture. See if you can find that one.
Yeah.
Or you weren't even aware of this, were you?
So many.
Show any of these.
Yeah.
Pop up one and pop up a good one. There it is, right there. Okay. So this is what the Western world is. This is what we were doing to them. I mean, how do you justify this? These are soldiers that were imprisoned by our military. They stack them up naked, and then the military members take pictures with their thumbs up, send them out all over the world, and you wonder why people don't really fall in line with what we're thinking, right? And this was probably staged and orchestrated by somebody in leadership position because they wanted to embarrass these people. But it's not good. I mean, Isaiah, come on, that's not good, right? I mean, can we at least admit that's not a good thing? This is not good for us to be doing. And it was a big fight back in those days. Abu Ghraib was released out into the public, and the people that released it, I think, got in big trouble for it too, because it made us look bad.
Absolutely, it made us look bad. There was one, I don't know if you ever saw the interview with the soldier who was captured early on, and I think he's on the Iraqi media. He's on one of the medias. And they're like, "Why are you here? What are you doing here? Like, why is America here?" And he's like, "I'm just doing what I was told. I'm a soldier. I was told to come over here, and this is what they told me to do." So,
but they were doing the same thing in Iran that they did with Iraq. That's why I say, if you're a pattern recognition person, right? If you recognize patterns, if you go back to the way they sold the Iraq war, this is what they're doing with the Iran war. I mean, look, I'm rooting for our troops. I'm not anti-American. I love this country more than anything. That's why I'm willing to stand up and fight for what's right. That's at least my perception of what I'm trying to do. That's certainly where my heart is at. I look at this and I say, didn't we just go through this with Iraq? When the lead up to the Iraq war, by the way, Iraq never did anything to America. Our CIA was in Iraq backing Saddam Hussein against the Iranians back in those days. So our CIA and our military people were involved with Saddam Hussein in Iraq all the way back in the 80s. Long story, but we were buddies with Iraq at the time. And then we decided we didn't like Iraq and we were going to take Iraq out. For whatever reason they were back, I think because they invaded Kuwait. That was the reason we used to go to war, right? Mm-hmm. But they used the exact same techniques for Iraq as they did Iran. We're going to come in. We're going to be liberators. Remember, George Bush went on the ship and he said, "Mission accomplished." And then we were at war for 5 more years. So Donald Trump's doing the same thing. Donald Trump has said the war is over weeks ago. We all know the war is not over. Iran is going out and telling people all over the world that unless the United States acquiesce to their point of view, then the war continues on. They're not afraid of the American military. They can come in and destroy everything they want. They just create more martyrs, which means more soldiers for them. That's the way they see it. Okay.
Yep.
Both propaganda. I'm not taking either side.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. And here we go in Iran with the exact same strategy we used in Iraq. They're going to greet us as liberators. They're going to throw flowers at us. They're going to love it. And it's going to be so fantastic. And everybody's going to be marrying Iraqi women because they're going to be throwing themselves at the soldiers. And it turned into...
and there may be people that think that,
of
but
course,
it's not everyone.
That would happen here if they took out Donald Trump. If they took out Donald Trump, half the liberals would be throwing flowers at the people that took out Donald Trump. It's just the nature of politics.
Yep.
But to invade another land and bomb their people and bomb their infrastructure and insinuate on social media that you're going to wipe them off the planet, off of planet Earth, is just something I can't get behind. I can't do it. And I don't care whether people like me or don't like me over it. I don't know what you're thinking to think that that's okay. I just don't think it's okay. To me, it feels like the people with the most power, which is the people of the United States and their military, because of Donald Trump, not our military per se, but because of the military power that we have, are threatening entire societies, and they don't know that Donald Trump's not going to do it. They just see a Truth Social post that their government puts out there that here's what they're trying to do, and it creates hatred of our people, and I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. But again, what do I know?
It's 11:43, and you wanted to cover the Ashley St. Clair story. I know that was important to you.
Let's do that, and then we'll get into the advertisers, and then tomorrow will be the first day where we do the advertising in a method that we're going to do it the following Monday. So we'll present our advertisers tomorrow. We'll try to structure it the way we would when we really start this baby. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, we can split it up over every hour, a few advertisers each hour, and
I need some kind of like red light or that says Rob time for advertisers. Let's do this.
We'll put a squirrel on the screen.
Yes. Let me read Donald Trump first. Don't start with me now. Donald Trump. All right. Here's Donald Trump. This is what he put out onto Truth Social. He's talking about the White House Correspondents' Dinner and the shooting. It says, what happened last night is exactly the reason that our great military, Secret Service, law enforcement, and for different reasons, every president for the last 150 years have been demanding that a large, safe, and secure ballroom be built on the grounds of the White House. Did you know that the presidents for 150 years have been clamoring for a new ballroom? I was unaware of that. I didn't know that was the case, but if Donald Trump says it, I know that it's true. Goes on to say, this event would never have happened with the military top secret ballroom currently under construction at the White House. It cannot be built fast enough. While beautiful, it has every highest level security feature there is. Plus, there are no rooms sitting on top for unsecured people to pour in, and is inside the gates of the most secure building in the world, the White House. The ridiculous ballroom lawsuit brought by a woman walking her dog who has absolutely no standing to bring such a suit must be dropped immediately. Nothing should be allowed to interfere with the construction, which is on budget and substantially ahead of schedule. I love that. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. So he wants this ballroom. This ballroom is very important to him. What I want to say about the ballroom is what Ashley St. Clair. Do you know who Ashley St. Clair is? Do you know where this ballroom comes from?
Yeah, she was. I followed her back in the first term when she was a big MAGA influencer.
Correct.
And so
she was she's the baby mama of Elon Musk.
Yep.
One of them. How many kids does he have with how many different women?
Oh man, I don't know, probably a dozen.
Is it because he's so handsome or because he's got a lot of money or because he's smart?
Oh, I'm sure the money helps.
The money probably helps. Probably a little bit. Let's play Ashley St. Clair, right? Ashley St. Clair, where is it? Yeah, Ashley St. Clair. It's clip number 6. She's talking about the ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz. Everybody knows that song. Check it out.
Oh, last week I told you guys that all of MAGA is paid and they coordinate their messaging in lockstep via group chats. And what do you know? All of these people came to the conclusion that after they saw what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, their first thought was all independently, Trump needs his ballroom. The statistical likelihood of this happening in a vacuum, if we are to stipulate that these people are not coordinated, the statistical likelihood of this happening, that they all came to the same conclusion,
Max?
Not probable. Okay. I think it's also important to note that one of the main group chats in which they coordinate this messaging is literally called Fight, Fight, Fight after the attempt on Trump's life in Butler. Okay, and this has the official Trump War Room, members of the administration, including James Blair, and all your favorite MAGA influencers. And I would log on and show you more of these messages, but I can't log on to Twitter because they're suing me for $75,000.
All right. So let's just go through the people that immediately went out. So you should know who is getting paid to sell the MAGA ideology. You should know who's getting paid. These people are getting paid to sell whatever Donald Trump and the administration is selling. These people go out onto social media, and amazingly, they have followers, which is just, I mean, just go to the source. What do you need all these people for? These people are going to parrot whatever they're told, and then they get paid to parrot whatever they're told. I consider it to be anti-American. Now, if you want to talk about something that's anti-American, I think this is anti-American. So let me just read some of these people. Andrew Colvett.
I was watching the live stream as President Trump says for the first time out of his mouth on live TV, the ballroom needs to be built. 2 minutes ago, I saw, 2 minutes ago, Andrew Colvett posted that the ballroom needs to be built. How did he know before Trump told us?
And he did a live video from the ballroom.
And I saw this all happening live on my X feed as I'm watching this and looking at my feed. I was like, what the heck?
What is the deal with this ballroom? They're building it. What's the push? Do you understand it? Because there's a lot of people saying they've got some big thing going on underneath it. It's this major.
I think that's a conspiracy that I haven't delved into too much, but
I've heard a lot of stories about who's building it and the whole thing. Who knows? But
I think if the government's building something, there's going to be more to anything that they're building. Always.
The government doesn't care about what goes on in the courts. They could care less. That's why is he mentioning this woman walking her dog and this whole thing? The government does whatever they want to do all the time, forever. They don't care at all what you have to say at all. I guess it makes it look like this woman has some power, right? She's putting a lawsuit out there. He's demanding she stop it. So maybe it just looks like maybe it's just for show, right?
Truman Show.
Showtime at the White House. All right. Andrew Colvett, it says, this is why President Trump needs to build the White House ballroom. That's Andrew Colvett. Libs of TikTok. This is why we need Trump's ballroom. Jack Prosobic. Thank God President Trump is building a ballroom at the White House. And Wokeness. Now you know why the left is suing to block privately funded White House ballroom. Wall Street May. We need the White House ballroom. Meghan McCain. I didn't know Meghan McCain was on the list. I don't want to hear one more, and she uses the whole word. I don't want to hear one more effing criticism of Trump's new ballroom at the White House. So Meghan McCain apparently wants that White House. Tara Bull. There's a shush in there somewhere. Tara Bull. Now you know why they don't want Trump to build a ballroom in the White House. Dustin Grage, whoever he is, I don't even know what he has to say. Cernovich, Michael Cernovich, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Right there in the middle. The Democrat judges who stopped the construction of a White House ballroom did so to enable assassination of Trump, which almost happened tonight. John Roberts needs to get these thugs in order. Everyone sees that what we are trying to do, or what they are trying to do. Tom Fitton, hard-hitting Tom Fitton. Tonight is one more reason for the new White House Trump ballroom. Geiger Capital. If only there was a ballroom at the White House where they could host secure events. Buzz Patterson. The White House ballroom is looking better and better. Sean Farash. That's the guy that does the imitation of Donald Trump. Sean Farash. Would be nice if the White House had its own ballroom. Nick Adams. Build the White House ballroom now in all capital letters. Nick Adams really wants that ballroom. Randy Fine. My congressman down here in Volusia County.
And we're having his opponent on tomorrow.
How about that? You like that?
Aaron
How
Baker.
I worked that in there? Huh?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm telling you, I'm getting better. I learned that in radio. Better and better and better, and it's only going to get better. One more time, tell the audience what's happening tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we have one of Randy Fine's competitors for the congressional seat in Florida 6th District. His name's Aaron Baker. He just got all of his signatures to appear on the ballot, so he will be on the ballot against Randy Fine. So I'm very interested to see what he has to say.
So am I. Can't wait to talk to him. Randy Fine says we'd better never again hear a peep from anyone complaining about a White House ballroom, and it goes on and on and on and on and on with the influencers.
Is that your first
How do we
thought?
get on the influencer list? How do we get on the influencer list?
Is that your first thought though when this is happening? Is to think about the ballroom? That didn't come into my
Of course not.
mind
It's
at all,
ridiculous.
you know,
that's what she just said. They go into a chat room. They're told what to put out. They all put it out, and they get paid to do it. And people follow them like they're independent thinkers. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Isaiah. It's embarrassing for the country. It's embarrassing for people that follow them. But they have followings, and I wonder how much of that following is real. I don't subscribe to any of these people, and they're constantly rolling through my feed. Constantly. I don't even know who Tara Bull is.
A lot of them are really upset. This is hilarious. A lot of them are upset with X because all of them regurgitate so much information and they're not the original creators of the information.
Yep.
And so X is changing how they pay people out, and they're only paying the original creator. And so people that were making thousands of dollars off regurgitating people's information, which is a lot of these MAGA accounts, Eric Doherty, Derek Evans, those types of people, they're not making any money anymore, and they're upset about it. And they're upset with the X staff because they're like, I was making all this money and making six figures.
Oh, I saw a couple of those guys come out on
Yeah.
X, and they were making so much money, and they changed the algorithm, and now they're getting all screwed.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of that.
Yep. And that's because they're not the original creators, right? And they want people like you and I who are putting original content out there, giving our actual opinions on stuff. They want to reward us instead of the people.
I like this idea.
regurgitating. I know, me too. That's what I said.
I continue to say, if we can get paid for being awesome, we're going to make a lot of money, Isaiah.
Yes.
Right?
If I had a dime for every time how smart I was told I was, I'd be a millionaire.
You're a genius. All right. Pam Bondi. She went out. She said, we must have the ballroom completed to protect President of the United States and his guest. God bless President Trump, his administration, and our great country. That is from the lovely and talented Pam Bondi. So they all want the ballroom now. Ballroom Blitz. Do I want to get into anything else today? I don't think I do. Let's do our advertising. We'll finally end on time for once. Your wife will love me for this today.
Yes, she will.
Can we start? See if you can find it. It is. Well, let's do Grace Halling first. Or whoever you got first.
Give me some time to put the new one in here. Let's do Grace Halling really quick and give me a minute to get the new advertiser.
I want to make sure I do. Larry Evans is one of my new advertisers. Yep. He does contracting work. Again, if you're getting ready to get pummeled, if you can spread this around to friends, or if you know somebody who's going to need a roof or gutters or siding or anything of that nature, we have a new advertiser, and he's one of us. I mean, he's somebody that believes in free speech and getting it out there. There's Grace Halling. GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com. Don't forget about Gary and Karen Schneider. Great people, pride themselves on customer service and competitive pricing. If you're in the area, if you're in St. Charles County or anywhere out in that area, you're going to see a lot of Grace Halling trucks and dumpsters and containers and everything else. If you're a commercial business, 2, 4, 6, and 8-yard dumpsters. Business been around since 1998. These are people you can trust. If you're a residential customer, trash, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk pickups. GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com. Gary, what would you like me to say about your business? And he said, but for the grace of God, I would not have such a thriving business. GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com. Don't forget about GraceHalling.com. You want to do ECS?
Let's do it. Give me 2 seconds here.
He does all of his advertising. He's going to do advertising through me and through Facebook. He said the upkeep of a website is just more money that I'd have to spend when I could be saving people money on their roofs and siding and everything else. I'll just read it. I'm going to kind of go through this for the first time because him and I have been talking for quite a couple of weeks now. So, roofing, realtors, there's certain things that within the broadcast world are we're an advocate for these people, and we're a big benefit to these type of people, because if you do it right, you're going to set yourself up with people that are trustworthy. And he spent a lot of time saying, Rob, this is how I do my business. You and I looked it over. I found some people that had done business with him in the past, and or knew him from the past, I guess I should say. I shouldn't say do business. And everything came back gold stars, right? So there he is: roofing, siding, decks, gutters, garage doors, custom exterior metal, residential, commercial, new construction, storm damage, free license inspections. So one of the things that gives him a leg up on people is he's got a background in insurance adjustment. So he knows when he goes up whether the insurance is going to pay for your roof, because most people want the insurance to get involved with roof replacement, right? You're going to have a big storm, the hail's coming down, it's going to beat your roof to hell, and you're going to need a new roof. Well, he can go up there and say, well, the insurance is not going to take this. They're not going to take this roof, or it will take it. So it saves you the time and energy of messing around with that. And they take care of business in St. Charles, St. Louis, Warren, and Lincoln County. Those are the only counties that he does business in. So it's St. Charles, St. Louis, Warren, and Lincoln. ECS Roofing Exteriors, over 30 years in construction. When I got to know him just a little bit, he just kept reminding me that they work on very tight margins. They're not trying to get over on people, and that they pride themselves on very competent work. He said, when I have trouble sometimes getting people to work with me because I'm a perfectionist, and I want to make sure that when we do, whether it's siding or roofing or gutters, that we're not constantly coming back out. right? Because if you get into a hurry and you do these things and you're just trying to churn people out and make as much money as you can, you end up doing shoddy work. And I said, yeah, I said, I'm kind of like that too. I don't want to make as much money as I can while simultaneously feel like I'm ripping people off. You know what I mean? When you do a poor job, you feel like you rip people off. He said, exactly. He goes, I just want to do a good job. He goes, I've been at this for 30 years and I know how to do this business. And if I don't, if there's something you got going on, something in your house, he goes, I know everybody in the contracting world. If you want to put whatever you got going on, you want to build a deck, he knows people that will build decks. And he goes, and I always just find the best person and I put him before you. So if you need general contracting work of any sort, doesn't matter what it is, general contracting work, I want you to think ECS Roofing. And let me give you the number here, 314-486-3567, 314-486-3567. You can see it on the screen. If you want to go to Facebook, check out ECS Roofing, ECS Roofing, ECS Roofing, ECS Roofers, whatever. You'll see the ECS Roofing, their logo and their information. Again, new advertiser, very proud to have him on. Very excited about it. Larry Evans, ECS Roofing. They do business, again, one more time, St. Charles, St. Louis, Warren, and Lincoln. And you can reach them at 314-486-3567. Licensed property adjusters on top of everything else. So it's a one-stop shop. If you got some damage and you're like, we got to get somebody out here to look at it, he can come out and tell you whether the insurance is going to take care of it. He's tight with all these insurance people around town because of his job as a licensed property adjuster. So it's a one-stop shop. You'll know whether the insurance is going to take care of you. And then if they say yes, or he says yes, then all of a sudden you got somebody who's going to work at a low cost and do a great job. ECS Roofing and Exteriors, my good friend Larry Evans.
Save his number because in the morning, there's going to be a lot of people that need it.
Yeah, you might want to pay attention to this, and you can always come back and watch it later and just kind of fast forward to the end. But 314-486-3567. I told him I'd start today because I saw the storm coming in, and I said, dude, it might be better to start early with you because it's getting ready to get nasty out there. And he said, would you? And I said, absolutely. All right, ECS Roofing, check it out on Facebook, or you can call them. Who's next?
Rocket Careers, ROCKIT.
Mitch wants to be first every day. Mitch? I know Mitch is listening.
Well, maybe we can bump him up to the premier sponsor one day, you know?
Well, what I'm going to do, he is basically, he's a premier because we've been buddies for a long time. What I want to do with him is, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a schedule. And then, some people are going to advertise every day. Some are going to do once a week. Some are going to do once every 2 weeks. Some people are 3 times a week. Some people want me to do testimonies for social media. Some people want to do speaking engagements for their sales crew, all kinds of different things that people have asked me to do. And the answer is always yes. If you're in the game with me, I will work until I die to make sure that your business is successful. I'll do everything I can from this end of it. Whole different experience being on your own, right? Because I can spend the time, I can do whatever I need to do to make sure people's businesses are successful. But we bring you into our network. We try to get all of our people, everybody that Isaiah knows in the world is going to use your this network. Everybody at People's Lobby will drive people to your businesses, and we connect. We do the show, we do social media advertising, and we connect through our lobbying groups and our associations with advocacy, if you will. And they're loyal people. These are the most loyal people in the world, so you couldn't get a better audience. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com. Now, this is a national business, so as we start to do national advertising for the podcast, this is going to really help out Mitch because Mitch works in all of the states. If you hate your job, if you're out of work and you need somebody to freshen up your resume, give you an elevator pitch, but really teach you how to launch a new career, you will not find better people. They've got all these things out there, these other groups that do placement. You're not going to find any better, and you're not going to find better people than my man, Mitch and Brian at rocketcareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com, 636-778-2419, 636-778-2419. And again, if you are a small to medium-sized business, and maybe you have a human resources department, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a human resources department, and everybody that gets hired, they're in and out, and they're not really getting the job done. Lean on these guys. They know how to find the right people for your business, and it's cost effective. They'll explain how it works, but it's very cost effective to use their services. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com. My good friends, Mitch and
we got to get a as seen on the Robb Carter Show logo on here, Mitch. Yeah. If you're listening, we got to get a Robb Carter logo. Let me know. I'll send you one.
Mitch, come on. If he's texting me right now, he's got Fox 2 up there. He's got number 9 networking, best St. Louis resume service. He's got all kinds. Where is the Robb Carter? I may have to drop him. I might drop Mitch. Come on, Mitch.
I know he's listening in here. I know he is somewhere.
He'll text me later. All right. Who else?
All right. Your wife's favorite.
Rick Babbitt. My wife's back in town, by the way.
How much art did she buy?
Back. My man, Rick Babbitt's. There he is. Rick Babbitt's.
How much of Rick Babbitt's money that he made you guys did she spend at the art show?
I'm afraid to find out. I haven't asked her yet. I'm sure I'm going to find out here pretty soon. Carrington Financial, yourcaringadvisor.com. Rick Babbitt's. All I can tell you is that he's done wonders for me and my wife. We were talking about how much money he's made us in the markets over the course of the last, 4, 5, 6 months. And it was not working that way prior to him getting involved. He said, I know when I have an algorithm and I have an idea of when things are going up or down in the market. I'll tell you what stocks to be in. Just stay in touch with me, Rob, and I'll make sure that you're in the right spots with the right businesses at the right time. And all I can tell you is my experience has been, it's been fantastic. Very excited about it. Rick Babbitt's, if you're nearing retirement or you have money to protect or grow, my man Rick Babbitt's will take care of you. His number is 314-671-0525. You can see his pretty face on their website, yourcaringadvisor.com. Yourcaringadvisor.com. I say get a second, get a third, get a fourth, get a fifth. I don't care, but get Rick Babbitt's opinion about your financial future. Biblical principles with your money, 314-671-0525.
Valvoline Express Care.
Tony Clark, 15 minutes from Bay to on your way. If you're out for an oil change or you're driving around and you look down and the odometer says it's time for an oil change, maybe the check engine light comes on, Valvoline-expresscare.com. That'll show you all the locations: Warrenton, Cape Girardeau, St. Peter's Parkway, Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lemay Ferry Road. And I'll just remind you of this because a lot of my friends come over and they park in the parking lot. I look, and if I don't see that Express Care sticker, can't come in. I don't care if it's raining, tornadoes, hail, doesn't matter to me. If you do not have the Valvoline Express Care sticker, we can no longer be friends. And everybody knows that, right, Isaiah? We all know that now.
Oh, yeah.
15 minutes from Bay to on your way. He said, Rob, I've been in this business for a long time. Most people get very irritated because there's some pressure to upsell them on oil filters and air filters and this type of thing. He goes, if you got something wrong with your car, we're obligated to show you, but there's absolutely no pressure. And we do quick, efficient oil changes. That is the number one thing he wants to hold, that he wants to hold his employees accountable for, is quick, friendly oil changes. Get in, get out, 15 minutes from Bay to on your way. No appointments, no sales pressure, all Valvoline branded products. Valvoline-Express Care if you want to check out. One more time with the locations: Warrenton, Missouri, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, St. Peter's Parkway, Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lemay Ferry Road. And last but not least, and I got to remind everybody, especially Sean Noel, maybe you guys can get the word out there in St. Clair and in Franklin County, live show from Moe's Pizza, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th from 9 to noon. The first 50 guests will get up to, I think, $12 or $13. I think they have pizza and salad bar, and it's right around 12 or 13 bucks. We'll pay for the first 50 people. My organization, People's Lobby Mo, will pay for your food. It's really to pay back Mike and Brenda for all of the great things they've done for the community and for me personally. So we'll be at Moe's Pizza on May the 5th, slinging pizzas and slinging salads. If you decide you want to go for a sandwich or some chicken wings or that absolutely spectacular ice cream that they have, always think Moe's Pizza. If you have any kind of gathering, whether it be a Bible study, political meeting, anniversary, or a birthday party, any kind of political meetings you have, anniversaries, Bible studies, the like, think Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri. As I like to say, it is a landmark in Washington, Missouri. Every time I go there, it's getting more and more crowded, which makes me feel very good because he's such a good dude. He's been so helpful to me. Moe's Pizza. God owns the place. He just works there. A landmark in Washington, Missouri at the corner of Grand and 5th Street. Moe's Pizza. Again, don't forget, we will be out there on May the 5th. May the 5th from 9 to noon. Food will be served at 11. First 50 people at the door get a free lunch on peopleslobbymo.com. Thanks for all of the great support we've had out in Franklin County, and a special thanks to Mike Johns and his beautiful wife for all they have done for us. Isaiah, last word. Got anything?
Just that Carolyn Levitt is live right now giving a press conference. So we'll have to check that out and report it to the people tomorrow.
Go check out Carolyn. She's incredibly talented. I got to give her credit.
Oh, my gosh.
Caroline Levitt, as a White House press secretary, might be the best that I've ever seen. Her energy level and her mannerisms.
She's way better than Kaylee, in my personal opinion.
So good. I like Kaylee, too. I thought Kaylee was really good.
Yeah, she was great. But just, I think Carolyn's ability to have discourse with the press there is very impressive.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Caroline Levitt. So she's got a press conference. Go check it out. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Robb Carter Show. Have a great day, Isaiah. We'll be in touch soon.
Sounds good. See you, everyone.
Right, see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.